Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Mailed Fuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
Hey, what's up, people?
And Connor's here as well.
That was like a lot less neutral than usual. It was like almost like it was a proper introduction.
Almost.
Almost. It's getting there. You're
Right.
getting into the Christmas spirit.
I love that Matt's yawning less than a minute into the show. It's a good sign.
Yeah,
It's a good sign.
One of those
I had a
days.
rather large breakfast, so it's still kind of settling. You know, one would argue I didn't need the beans with the breakfast burrito, but you know what? I got them.
I think you always do.
Yeah.
Oh dear, yeah. We
So this is what happens when the wife leaves you alone to go early shopping with her family, and it's just like you're on your own. Like, all right, breakfast burrito with beans it is.
that story had everything. It had a setup, had payoff, had a twist. It was everything.
Mm.
The twist being the beans. We talk about comics on this show, coming up on this week's show, because DC for some reason like putting most of their books on weeks 2 and 4, and this is week 4. So because of that, coming up on this week's show, Heroes in Crisis issue 3, Aquaman Justice League Drowned Earth issue 1, which I hate that title because it's just
Slash issue 6.
slash issue 6 slash issue 2 slash
Whatever
beta.
it's actually on. Yeah.
Detective Comics 993, Action Comics 1005, Wonder Woman 59, The Flash 59, Batgirl 29, Justice League Odyssey number 3, The Terrifics number 10, Titans 30, The Silencer 11, and that's it. That's the whack. So it's 11 books. Hell of a week.
You know, I had every intention on trying to get caught up on Silencer, but DC decided, like, nah, here, we're going to give you a bunch of major books.
Yeah.
Well,
So I was just saying about getting caught up on Titans, and it just didn't quite happen.
Well, here's I know this is like a galaxy brain move, right? This is maybe thinking outside the box.
If you suggest doing it on the quieter weeks, there's good reasons that we didn't, presumably.
Presumably.
I assume I was busy.
I'm just saying, I had the idea last week as we were talking because Silencer is going to be ongoing. It's like one of the only New Age books to survive.
Yes.
So I was like, maybe I should start back at 1 and retry this thing. They seem to enjoy it.
Well, Matt, next week is a good week to start because you get less books.
Do you know what my problem is?
Mm-hmm.
Is that I forget that I haven't read them, and then it gets to the new week of the next issue on a week 4, and I see the next issue and go, oh yeah, I should probably catch up with that. Every time.
This is poor planning. That's all this is.
Screw you.
Poor
I'm just
planning.
saying, I had to start. I would have at least had like 2 issues read by now. But no, it's every time I thought I was in the clear with the comics, I'd go back and go, oh no, there's still this one to read.
Yeah. Well, weeks 1 and 3, Matt. There's your windows to do some catch up.
You say that. There's new books next week.
There's
Which,
new books
we'll
next
get to later. But
we'll get
there
to
is.
later.
There is.
Hold on.
It's maybe not the usual small week 1 that we're typically.
I mean, there's
used to.
2 ones I'm adding for sure.
It's still kind of quiet. I don't know what the second number 1 is. I'm like, I'll find out later. But I'm looking at my list for next week, and I'm only seeing one.
You are.
It involves the Manhunter from Mars.
Yeah, I've got that one.
And it involves the power of a magic word. So there's 2 number 1s.
Oh, it's because I get pushed. Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. That was not the original week for Shazam. Not even by a long shot.
No, but
It is, but 2 new books plus another thing that got pushed to next week. It's no longer a small week.
It's smaller than this.
I'm not reading Deathstroke anymore, so it's fine.
Yeah, I kind of slipped, so I guess I'm not either.
Oh well, there you go. Had it here first, folks. Deathstroke has been not almost cancelled. It's just been cancelled on Comics in the Multiverse.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, a little bit of news. We got one thing. We don't have any real big news this week, but there was some teasing on Twitter from Bendis that Ryan Sook has got one more issue of Action Comics, and then Epting's coming out of the book, and
God damn it!
and then
Connor.
And then Sook is still working with King on a super secret DC project of some kind.
Bendis.
What did I say?
With King.
I said with King. Sorry, King and the Bread. The first book today is by King. I'm looking at his name. But with Bendis. And Matt, when I said this, when we were bringing this up just sort of in passing before we started recording, Matt said, "Oh, Leviathan." I don't think it is, because if you go back to the tease and whatever issue had that tease with your secret project Leviathan on the desk at the start, it said that it started in Action, I think, 1007. So I think whatever this secret project is separate from...
I don't know. So if that could start in 1000, but Sook could be working on it and getting ahead so that when it's ready, it can spin out.
I mean, it could be, but that's assuming it's Superman related.
Well, no, it is, but I'm just saying your logic doesn't...
Knowing how Bendis works and how he was at Marvel, this could be his first like miniseries event thing.
Yeah,
you know. So
here's the thing.
And it could start there, like Connor's saying, and then become a not worldwide, but line-wide thing.
I'm not 100% sure that the Leviathan that he's talking about is Leviathan the group in DC. It could be.
I mean, if we're gonna get Superman versus Kaiju, cool. So that's the other place my brain goes to with the word Leviathan.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I don't know. I almost think it's a bait and switch. I almost think he's messing with us with that tease. So I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure if Leviathan actually refers to what the villain is going to be, or if it's just no. Leviathan just fits as a title for the story because of what it's about. So I don't know. I'm curious.
I just hope it doesn't infect my books too much.
Oh, I hope it does.
I hope Epting being on was Action.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
Is enough to draw Connor.
Do you know what it is enough to do? It's enough to make me, when I go to the shop, just flick through and look at the pretty pictures, and then put it back without reading any of the words.
I was thinking about Mario being so upset that Bendis and Epting are working on a DC book, and him going to the shop and begrudgingly buying it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Dear. But yeah, so he was teasing that on Twitter today. So I thought that was worth mentioning, because it's like, okay, so Bendis has got an event or a mini or maybe an ongoing, but probably not.
Could be just another book.
Because he's got Young Justice coming in January as well. Plus he's got all these things, all these.
I don't know how he does it.
What's the name of his imprint again?
Jinx World.
There you go. That's the one. He's got those as well. So
I kept wanting to call it Scarlet. I was like, no, that's a book.
I did as well.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, I don't know how he does it. I know you can prep everything and like be ready for things, but
there's a handful of them, isn't there? Like him, Soul, Lemire. It's just, here you go. Here's 10 books at once.
Yeah. So.
And sometimes for better, sometimes for worse.
Yeah.
See, dog agrees with me.
Yeah.
Very violently, as it happens. Yes.
So the cat likes to mess with the Christmas tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now the dogs are on guard, so they don't like the cat. So the cat goes down to mess with the tree, and the dogs are like, nope, not today. So it's going
to be a long month.
Oh, big time. Because now the tree's by the stairs where the cat can easily just get to it, right?
At multiple levels.
Yes. So...
This feels poorly thought out.
Well, that was the only place to put... I got it. 1 minute, guys.
Oh, remember to mute this time.
Yeah.
That makes a change.
Not always.
This makes a change. I was watching a silent little movie there for a second. Oh, it still is. Oh, geez.
Things are serious.
Oh, he's storming off. The dog's out after him. Oh, the big dog, the grand dog, who's like the head honcho.
Thunderdog.
Thunderdog, yes. Followed him out afterwards. Go down to deal with the delinquents.
I like how we're just running audio commentary for the audio listeners.
Well, I don't want to start the first book with him, so yeah, that's what we're doing.
I mean, yeah, he'll catch up. It's only Heroes in Crisis.
Oh, was that something spooky? I think it was like a ghost or something there for a split second. Just the corner of the screen.
Oh man.
What if there's a demon in the Christmas tree? Well, maybe that's why the cat wants to attack it. The cat can sense there's something bad in the tree.
What, and the dog wouldn't? No, the dog would know first.
The cat's smarter than the dogs.
The ghost first.
Here's the thing. Cat's up in the room on the other side of this door. I don't know what they're barking at.
Oh, they're barking at some spirit.
Guys.
Told you the dogs know first.
There's a poltergeist in the tree. That's what I'm saying.
She's sitting on the couch just barking at things.
Dogs know first. What did I say?
I don't like it.
All right, let's move on to books, to talking about comic books. That's what we typically do here. At the 10-minute mark, man, even with that rambling, that was still quicker than usual. That's what happens when there's no news. Or solicits.
Or sales figures.
Or sales figures. Sales figures are a once-a-month treat, Matt. Once-a-month treat.
Sure.
Trick or treat.
Hey, if you want to talk about sales figures some more this week, I'm more than happy to get back into that well.
Sales figures are the Necco wafers of treats. It's like somebody eats them, but I don't want
them. Peach just over there lapping them up.
Oh, yeah. Sales figures.
He's like, oh, you don't want the Necco wafers? I'll take them.
They're a hit with the audience as well, might I add.
I think they only enjoy the fact that me and Matt hate them. I don't think they actually like the figures themselves.
Maybe a little column A, a little column B. Either reason's valid, though. So, that's okay.
I disagree.
Me too.
Fine. Overruled. Moving on to books. Starting off this week with the next in the current ongoing event, which is Heroes in Crisis. This is issue 3. Tom King writing. We got Clay Mann and Lee Weeks on art. So this issue focused on the final day or days of Sanctuary, with Booster arriving, and we see Wally and we see Lagoon Boy, and what their therapy was kind of entailing on the last day or so before the murder happened. The murder came to town.
Yeah. So I can't get a beat on this book. I said that in on the thread. And that's not good or bad. Just, I came into this book thinking it was going to be akin to a Crisis, right? Where it's going to be this big story, which it is. And, by issue 3, we're going to know the major, things. And we still don't, as far as I'm concerned.
This is 12 issues, right? Oh, 9 issues.
Oh,
so we're a third through. And I feel still like I have no opinion on this book.
Yep, me too. I know the art's great.
Oh, yeah.
I know that much. Like, I'm enjoying the art.
Can't fault the art. No, the art's immaculate.
The pages here, and I didn't look who did which page, but, like, the breakdowns here, how they're done in the grid style.
Yeah, I think Clay Mann did just the grid pages at the start and the end, and the rest is Weeks.
Yeah, and then Weeks, so... There's a panel or a page where Booster's talking to himself, and I'm reading it going, well, which one's the real Booster? Because it's the Kryptonian technology that mirrors, it gives you what you want to see. And over the course of that page, I bounced back and forth which one was the real Booster.
That's interesting, because I always thought I had the right one.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. And then the chaos starts to happen and things get mixed up. And I just thought, like, that was a really fun page. Like, that was, I felt like the art combined with the story, neither was a heavy lifter there. Like, it was beautifully together.
I think there's a lot of single pages in this issue that are great on their own. Just about everything with Wally, like, in the VR with these kids, it was like, oh, come on, stop breaking my heart, King. Stop it. Stop this right now, you bastard.
I didn't want to be alone. That's why he's at Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm not going to say if I cried or not, but it hit.
I'll say this though, obviously we've mentioned since the start that time travel to fix this is a possibility because of Booster Gold. Yeah. This issue has clearly introduced another out, that all of this is VR, right?
Yep.
That's another out now. We have 2 outs at the end of this.
So far, the only lasting thing I can see from this is the death of Roy. Because it's been impacted.
If this is VR, which I don't think it can be, given like what Matt's saying there, that we've seen Roy's death affect other areas of the world.
No, that's true. That's true.
If it is VR, who's in Sanctuary experience this? Whose VR experience is this?
Harley, because she's the killer.
Is she?
Here's my take.
She's
a killer. There's not just one.
Sure, okay. Yeah, they all killed each other. A bit chaos.
Like,
I can see that.
I think, something. But I definitely think time travels with... As far as Booster's concerned, I think that by the end of this, we'll get a classic interpretation of Booster. I think whatever his issues were will be fixed. And I feel that's King telling that story.
Actually, just
started with the gift.
To go back to something that we sort of brought up there for a second ago, is that Roy's death has been mentioned in other books. It's had a knock-on effect. Has Wally's death actually been mentioned outside of this book? There were potential allusions to it in Flash. Yeah.
But it is, I mean, the books that Roy has been mentioned dead in are the ones that, it has to have, the ones that directly affected it. Wally's death only really has to affect the Flash in the same way that Roy's has affected, Green Arrow.
Because Dick being shot in Batman has had its effects, right?
Yeah, to an extent. Because if you think about it, the cover on this week's Titans, which we'll talk about later, is the photo of the Titans, and Wally's crossed out just like Dick and Roy are, right? As if they've been knocked off. And thematically...
But he was already off that team. Right? Like, that was like the of the team members that were there.
But they're all off the team. Everyone in that photo's off the team except Donna.
Right. And the other ones aren't crossed off? I didn't look at it closely.
No.
Yeah, because Garth's not crossed off. Lilith's not crossed off. So, I mean, nothing in the book has them talking about Wally. None of them know about Wally. And yet they know about Roy.
Right, they do talk about Roy.
Yeah, Donna knows it in this very issue. That's minor spoilers for Titans if you're going to skip that one later. But Donna admits that she went to a funeral for Roy. But why does it make sense that she knows about Roy, but she doesn't know about Wally?
Which makes you think that Wally, maybe something happens to Wally in Sanctuary, but he's not dead.
But Roy is. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Roy's dead, but Wally's not.
For sure.
Because I never thought about this before, but it's actually a really good point. Why does Donna know that Roy is dead and there's been a funeral for Roy, but no one seems to have mentioned Wally? And it's fine if you say the Flash is set before everyone finds out. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. So I forgot about Titans.
But Roy and Wally were found at the same time. So if there's a funeral for Roy with Donna and other heroes there for that, then how can they possibly not know and mention about Wally?
So here's the thing. In those, does she say that he was murdered? That Roy was murdered? Or that he just died?
To be fair, no, she never does. It's always just Roy is dead.
I'm trying to think back to the Green Arrow funeral issue.
I don't think they ever specify how he died.
I could see that, Sanctuary happens, but not really, right? But Roy ended up dying of an overdose.
Yeah, what if Roy commits suicide by the end of this?
Or something like that.
I see
and
by
that's
the
why
end,
Ollie...
Yeah, we get everyone back to life, but then Roy goes again.
Yeah, Roy either intentionally kills himself or...
Right.
But I mean, which one's sadder is up for debate, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
someone really doesn't like Roy.
Because either way, Ollie would be raw and feel upset with himself for letting him down.
Yeah.
Whether he was murdered, or it's an OD, or a suicide, or whatever.
This is interesting. This is insane. I never thought of this until we started talking about this.
Yeah.
But Donna, because especially when she's talking about the group in Titans as a group, and she's like, "Oh, but Dick gone," and I have to admit, I was at Roy's funeral the other day. How can you not mention Wally? You have to know if they were found together dead, like we saw in this book. How could she not know that? Why would they keep that one a secret? Why would Roy's dead, by the way, but we'll keep it the other ones, on the down low. Like, doesn't make sense.
So and I think other characters can die out of this, right? I just think that there's more to going on with Wally.
Oh, sure. There's a bunch of D-listers on the back page that I think are all fair game to go.
Yeah.
Basically,
they could have just been listed as red shirt number 1. At a certain point, but and I feel it's I don't say weird, but I want to know what King's whole spotlight on the Goon Boy was. And I know that sounds harsh, but this is the most I've ever cared about Lagoon Boy. And
King was a fan of the Young Justice show.
Yeah, which obviously
not just that, because he refers to something that happened in pre-Flashpoint Teen Titans. Like
I assumed this was based on something that happened, but I didn't recognize what he was referring to.
Yeah.
So like that was a story arc I read, when he was on the Titans for like a hot minute, and like, so I appreciate King doing all that homework, but then turning around and making me care about Lagoon Boy, like that panel where he inflates himself like a pufferfish. He's like, oh, well, that's new.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing though, right? I mean, you sound like you're complaining, but it's a good thing you care about Lagoon Boy. It's kind of like one of the things about Identity Crisis that always gets me is how in the first issue of that book, it made me care so much about Dimney and so much about his wife. Two characters who, before I read that, I mean, they existed. They were fine. I didn't really think about them.
It was Plastic Man and, Plus. You know what I mean? Like, Elongated Man. It's like, well, why do we need Elongated Man when we have Plastic Man?
It made them a character. I think for all the things you can levy at this book, if you want to, for because I do feel like this is one where if you read it as a whole at the end, it's probably going to work a lot better than it is month to month.
Yeah. Well, because I don't feel like it's paced to be a mystery. I feel like, well, maybe if it is paced to be a mystery, but once all the pieces come out, then it pulls together. But not in a mystery in that way like Identity Crisis was, where you're piecing it together alongside Batman.
It's not like there's a red herring every issue that's like, hey, this could be the killer, or this could be that.
Right.
It's just a little frustrating to read monthly in that individual moments are pretty good, but then, like I said, we're a third of the way through the book, and I don't feel like I've gotten anything out of it yet.
The thing is that I feel like this is one where you could say, oh, this is probably better as an event graphic novel. But because of the way the industry works, we don't have event graphic novels. We have out-of-continuity graphic novels, and we have, if it's something that's in continuity, it has to be a serialized book. It has to be, single issues.
It's the sort of thing that I feel like maybe if we'd waited and got, let the artists finish it and put this out weekly.
Yeah.
Maybe because that's the next best thing. I get, okay, we can't do a graphic novel, but I feel monthly this is kind of a drag in the sense of the pacing.
And it reads entirely too fast for a monthly book. Like,
that's what I was going to say. I mean, you could say the pacing's a drag and the wait between the issues is a drag, but the actual pacing in the book is super fast. Like, I read this so quick.
No, I don't mean the reading pace. I mean the story pace. In terms of where we're 3 issues in, and I feel like we've done nothing yet.
But I feel like we get through it and we read it, and it reads all fast, and now we have to wait another month for the next one, or a month plus, whatever it ends up being.
It's been pretty consistently on week 4.
That's a month, It moved to week 5 that one month because it was a week 5, but that's fine.
Whatever. I won't criticize it for that. It's been consistent so far.
Yeah, and that's where I hear a lot of people, like a friend of mine at the shop's like, I'm done with it. I don't have time for this. And I fully understand that. But
it's a huge difference between this and the other event going on right now in Doomsday Clock, in that where it's 2 months plus between issues.
Yeah.
And every single one, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, every single one of those is a full meal. They're doing very different things, and the funny thing is that I think this is a pretty well written book. Like, I have faith that by the time we get to the end of this, I'm going to look back in this and think it's a really well orchestrated story. Is it perfect for monthly single issues? I mean, I don't know, because this chapter specifically feels like it was a very, very quick slice. But almost everything in it I liked. I know some people love to complain about, it was kind of like how in the last issue people were complaining, oh, Harley can take on the Trinity, and then this one it was like, oh, she can hit a speedster in the head with a hammer, and he should move out of the way. And I'm like, you can complain about that. I don't know.
It's a critique, but that's one I'm over, because otherwise speedsters never have any villains.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's also like this with King. He's earned it as a writer to tell the story he wants to tell, and I can suspend my disbelief enough that they're at this place in Sanctuary where mentally they're unstable. That's why they're there, right? They're experiencing trauma, so they're not on their A game. So that doesn't work with the Trinity, but here for the Speedster,
I mean, he is literally holding his best friend's dead body.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. He's not looking at her as well. It comes from behind, for the record. So
he's not really paying attention to the outside world.
I mean, it's kind of how Deathstroke attacked Kid Flash back in John's Titans, where he got him to freeze for a half second. You know,
and that was enough.
Yeah, that's enough. You know,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I understand critiques on this, and like my friend that's just over it, he'll probably come back to when it's time.
I've been the most negative of us three here consistently out of the 3 issues. I think there are problems. I don't think it's a badly written book, though. I don't think I've ever said that.
No.
I do not think it works as a monthly book at all.
Joey King reminds me of sometimes, and this happens with some of his Batman arcs as well. And it's worked really well with Mr. Miracle because it is this smaller character, and he's doing this great thematic, study of depression, right? Is that King reminds me of like a filmmaker who's a bit more art house, who gets given the keys to a big franchise, and then some of us who love good movies love that weird, that entry, but some other people hate it. Like, some people swear that Azkaban's the best Harry Potter movie, but there are some fans who think that's the worst movie because it's the weird one.
Oh, they're just wrong. Because
Azkaban is the best.
And that's
just the best book.
That's the first example I could think of, even though I'm not a big Harry Potter guy. I don't really give a shit. It probably is the best movie because it's cool.
He's, King's kind of like Denis Villeneuve, right? Where he can come in and he can do these big blockbustery feeling things, but then like Arrival, right? It's an alien kind of invasion
This is
movie.
true. Yeah, Jeff Johns does your Independence Day. Tom King does your Arrival.
Right. And they're both dealing with the same thing. It's just in the way they choose to handle it.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah. I feel like, you mentioned Mr. Miracle. I feel like that's a very fair comparison to this book in the way, the style of story that it is.
But each of those felt like like Pete had said, it feels like a meal, right?
Each issue had a thematic point for that issue.
Yeah.
And this is what it's doing. Because that was my biggest problem with the final issue, is that it was a bit kind of greatest hits.
Yeah.
And
here I feel like these, like, Heroes in Crisis is like a slice of pizza, right? Where who do you know that eats just one slice of pizza?
I mean, I feel like that analogy is a little bit broken because one slice of pizza is still satisfying on it. Like, you don't feel like you're missing part of the pizza by just having one slice. It still tastes just as good, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's maybe more akin to getting a bite of pizza.
Sure, I guess. I just,
I feel like a better analogy might be a sandwich, but you're only getting like one. It's like, so issue 1 is just the bottom slice of bread, right? And you're like, okay, good bread, solid bread.
Sure.
But I didn't know what the rest is.
That might work better.
Okay, then the butter goes on, and then and so on. Yeah. If we're going with food analogies.
Yeah. But either way, I think we all agree this is not bad, but unsatisfying as a monthly book.
Yeah, I got to it at the end of Wednesday morning, and I'm at work, and I'm reading it, and I went, all right, well, I just spent my break reading this, and I feel like I shouldn't have. Like, I should have read something else, So I felt like I did something on my break.
Go, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice the Elmer Fudd, and it was either Mr. Miracle or Vision in the twins' room in Wally's hologram?
I don't believe I did.
I think it's Mr. Miracle.
Yeah, I think it's.
And there's a turtle in there.
Yeah, someone said that it could be the Vision too, just the way that it's shaded.
No, I think it's the cape with the yellow dots. With the green cape there. That looks like Miracle to me.
Yeah, but I thought that was a fun little piece of art in there.
Yeah,
some great art here. I love Wally putting on the expressionless mask. Is really good because everyone thought this was going to be a Psycho Pirate mask when we first saw the cover of it, including us.
Well, it still looks to me like a Psycho Pirate mask. Like, it's very, it does that. So the Psycho Pirate mask makes you feel the different emotions, right? This is almost the inverse of that, where it's supposed to be taking away the emotions. Like, you're supposed to be blank.
Yeah, but it also lets Psycho Pirate control other emotions. So
right, I'm not saying there's control, but I'm feeling like it was definitely inspired by that mask.
Oh yeah, I feel like the thematic link here is that this is supposed to let you take control of your own emotions.
Right.
That's thematically what they're doing here by having a Sacred Pirate style mask. Can we talk about the fact that
you can the rules are like, well, you don't have to wear it. If you want to, you can, but you're supposed to be anonymous. So I don't understand how that little piece.
Well, it's basically if you want to be anonymous, you can be anonymous. If you want to interact with others, you can. If you don't have to. So we learn a little bit more about Sanctuary in that sense.
On that, who was that? Giving Booster that mask and giving him that speech.
Those are the puddlers.
Yeah. So I thought the whole point of Sanctuary is that it's all automated.
Those, I think they are.
Yeah, I think they're robots.
Okay.
I thought they were robots modeled after the Kents and Lana. Honestly, they were giving me that vibe.
Yeah, I was getting the Kents from it, but that's why I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I think they're robots. I think they're androids.
What if this all turns into, right? King keeps mentioning the technology behind all of this. What if this goes Whedon Astonishing X-Men with the Danger Room, and Sanctuary ends up the one that's responsible for all this? If that happens, I'd be a little upset. Because I just have that with the puddlers, the whole graffiti on there. Now we're getting to know these. They're based off the Kents and Lana, and they keep mentioning like it's Kryptonian tech with Batman's programming and Wonder Woman's compassion. That keeps being driven home.
I can see it being a tech thing, and ultimately. Yeah. I mean, is this some kind of weird simulation to see how they can, fight the heroes or something like, and then, obviously, ultimately the heroes will save the day because that's just it's comic books, but that's interesting with the possible casualty of Roy, as we have discussed.
Right.
he's a goner.
I also think that the Harley that we get coming out of this is going to change Harley from what we know her as, where I've said this before. To where it's going to be probably more in line with...
It wouldn't surprise me if there's like a new Harley book, or a relaunch of some sort.
Yeah, are you thinking more in line with the solo book Harley and kind of shift away entirely from the Suicide Squad version?
Yep.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, I feel we'll get a streamline. This is the Harley that we deal with all the time because that's been our main complaint since Rebirth, is it feels like there's like 3 different Harleys at play. Yeah. Depending who's writing her. And I just feel like if they're going to do an editorial shift...
Yeah, see if they're going to go just full anti-hero Harley, where she is kind of an ally to the heroes now, and she's not, she's...
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Just pick it and stick with it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I mean. I think whatever we get, even if we get a more villainous Harley, I feel like this is the one that we're going to go with for the foreseeable future. Because
bizarrely, one of the best parts of the Injustice 2 video game story is the Harley arc.
Really?
Yeah.
Which is what? Is she turning?
She's turning good, basically. She's working with Batman early on, and she's kind of like this wild card. She's Charlie from It's Always Sunny. Never know if she's going to do the right thing.
I cut the brakes.
But I mean, it's been a while since I watched the playthrough of it. But she ultimately ends up kind of like sticking up for Batman's ideals when the time gets rough. And she stops someone.
The big bad? An Injustice?
Yeah, he is. He's kind of like the Hannibal Lecter of the second game. He's locked up in a Red Sun prison thing.
Okay, then who's the main villain then?
Wonder Woman, who was like his partner, is still villainous. And one of the arcs of the second game is that Supergirl's now around, and at first she wants to align herself with Cal, but spoilers here for the game. But by the end, she realizes, no, this is awful and evil. No, I'm going to side with everyone else. So it plays with that stuff. Because the second game was interesting in that, because the first game had like the good versions of all the characters as well, because it was like a mix in worlds. It was like a crisis kind of multiverse thing.
Right.
The second one was just set in the world where Superman went evil, and it's about...
Those games have shockingly interesting stories for what they
do.
are.
They do.
Because for some reason...
I was instantly turned off by Evil Superman, but the more I hear how layered it is...
First, I mean, it's funny it turned out so interesting because for some reason the fighting game decided that they needed a reason for Superman to be fighting Batman, and I'm like, we don't need one. It's a fighting game. Everyone's just going to fight each other. It's fine. And then a reason why, why can Batman hold his own against Superman? Superman's like, I don't need one. It's a fighting game. Everyone's just equal. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just leave it.
See, that's where I disagree. And as the non-gamer here, I always prefer fighting games that have a layered, detailed story, like Tekken or Soul Calibur.
Oh, sure. I don't need context. It's a fighting game. I'm not questioning why they can fight each other.
You just want to punch shit.
Yeah.
No, I get that. But then, the comic's meant to be really good as well, and that's had a lot of
It's Tom Taylor, and I like Tom Taylor a lot. So
yeah.
I can't fault it. But yeah, so here's the crisis. I still think it's got a lot going on. It's made us theorize quite a bit here, and it's made us talk. And I think the art's really nice. I think there is good storytelling going on in here, and I do think that when it's all said and done, we're going to have a much more positive opinion. I hope.
Maybe.
Overall.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. There's been very little from King that I haven't liked. I mean, he made an Elmer Fudd Batman crossover fun to read.
That was fantastic.
Like, and so far the thing of his that I liked the least was that I Am Suicide arc. But the longer his Batman run gets in, you know what I mean? The longer it goes, the more that I see like that was kind of seated in there at that point for that reason, you know? Like
the funny thing
it
about
was setting the board.
His Batman run is that I liked I Am Suicide, but the funny thing about looking back at that now is that it's almost like he was intentionally doing an over-the-top Bat God goes to fight Bane story, because then over the course of the rest of it, he's going to deconstruct that and play with your expectations on it. So
yeah, that's exactly. And so now I can look at it for what it is, and I don't, I just know a lot of people that are just like, oh, Tom King's overrated. I'm like, all right, well, go over there and don't talk to me. And you could not like it, but don't say he's overrated, because he's doing some fantastic work,
Every comment we get on this episode now is going to be Tom King is overrated.
I think, no, to be fair, if you consider him rated as highly as some people do, I think it's fair to say overrated is not inaccurate. If you're not enjoying all of his stuff.
Overrated and underrated are completely subjective to whoever's speaking.
Yeah.
No, that's true. But I get this a lot. Like, oh, he doesn't understand Batman. Why is he selling Batman? It's like, well, he's halfway through his story.
Because I'll tell you this right now. Batman is one of the most underrated characters in comics, and I'll tell you why. Because too many people say he's overrated, therefore he is now underrated.
I hate you right now. I hate you.
My logic is sound. My logic is sound.
I know what you're doing, and I'm not going to take the bait.
I have had some problems with King's Batman run in the past, 20
we
issues,
know
right?
the bomb and the cross.
No. There's a point here. There's a point here, and in that, I still think King is a very good writer, but I would also agree that he is overrated.
Go in the corner and don't talk to Matt.
Yeah. I've got an actual opinion about this book, though. I've still got one somewhere. On the art, I have an actual criticism.
Oh,
okay, what was missing in the panel?
No, nothing. It's just this is more of an expectations underwhelming sort of thing. Is that Lee Week's art is very good, but he is doing his Clayman emulation instead of just doing really, the shadowy Lee Week stuff, and it's still really good.
That's fine to blend the story. I feel
it makes it a lot more consistent, which I think
does. But my problem is, okay, this is a flashback. Essentially, this is the time where you have an excuse to have a different art style, and I feel like playing with Lee Weeks' shadow work that he often is, really spectacular as his finest stuff would have just set it apart a little bit more and given it that extra edge of
how do we know that Lee Weeks' art out of the shadows isn't just Clayman? We don't.
I feel like this is just an expectations thing, because if you didn't tell me who was on this book, but you just told me there's kind of a fill-in for most of the book, I'd be like, and then I'd read this and go, hey, that was actually really consistent. I'm actually quite happy with that.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's not that it's bad art. It's very good. It's that I was disappointed that he's doing the Clayman emulation rather than doing just Lee Weeks, which I really I like Lee Weeks more than Clayman usually.
That booster sequence is like one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it's good.
That King's written, just like, and it's not just because they reference Starfire and that it's Booster. The way that it made me like.
It's because Booster's fighting himself, but it's like Booster's realizing that he's annoying enough to annoy himself. That is what that scene is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you could be anywhere in the world right now, but surfing with a Tamaranian princess, but you're in there in a room talking to yourself, like. Man,
yeah.
So good.
Of course, our Roy Wally theory is going to be shattered in like a week or two's time when some book mentions Wally's dead. But as of right now, Roy's the only major death sticking in this.
If they do that, cool. Like, keep it consistent, though. Like, I don't want editorial to ruin all this.
Yeah, but also don't kill Wally, yes.
Yeah.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. That's why I think when King was asked and he said, "Oh no, the deaths will stick," I think he was being coy, because what he really means there is the deaths by the end of the book will stick.
Some deaths will stick.
Yes. But hey, here's the Crisis issue 3. What we rating it out of 10, Matt?
So it's still really good, but it's not like super amazing, but it's still enough to earn an 8.
I can see the logic there. Connor?
I'm going with a 6.
6.
Good moments, but it doesn't come together for me.
Connor went low. What a shock. See, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with Matt here, where I'm like, I have critiques just because it feels like a really quick slice of something. But it has several great moments, and the art's still fantastic. So, and I'm still very intrigued about where it's going emotionally. So I'm going to agree with the 8. I'm going to stick with the 8. I'm still looking forward to more issues of Heroes in Crisis. I'm not someone who's upset about it. So, as of yet, and again, this is me having the firm belief that Wally is not going to be staying dead. That is the firm belief I have.
Does your belief change if Wally is dead at the end?
Or do you mean my opinion change?
Yes. It's been a long day.
I may be upset if that turns out to be the case. Well, at least once Doomsday Clock ends, and if it's not fixed, then I'll get upset.
Dr. Manhattan just comes in and goes, "Nope, you're not dead." Poof. And fixes it.
I'll be like, "Thanks, Doc."
Boy, you're still dead. I don't like you.
Thanks, Dr. Manhattan. Love you.
He is a doctor.
He is. He came in and healed Wally from death. So, yeah. Alright then, we'll move on to the end of a kind of mini event. It's just a Justice League arc that they put some specials to speed it up. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
Because the Aquaman issues were just tie-ins, so all it really was 2 issues of Justice League. Technically 3, because I'd count the one before it as well. And then the 2 specials. But we have Aquaman Justice League, Drowned Earth, issue 1. Scott Snyder writing, with Howard Porter and Francis Manapul on it. I think there was a third artist as well, but those are the 2 that I caught. So, yeah. And despite the fact that those are 2... I was going to say, despite the fact those are 2 good artists, we were right what we said last time, that nothing lived up to Fraser Irving's depiction of that Kraken coming out of the sky.
Nothing was ever going to, was it?
Drowned Earth in one word, it's messy. Because I feel the story was all over the place. The art was all over the place.
Third artist was Scott Godlewski.
There you go. Yeah, that art was kind of all over the place. Honestly, I probably enjoyed Porter's art the most on this one. I felt like it fit the comical tone of what was going on more than anyone else.
It was a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
I have a real question though. Can we keep Superman with an eye patch and the badass jacket that just appears from nowhere?
Yes.
No.
Yes,
Why
please.
not?
I'm amused. I'm quite happy to have it here in the joke that they're on a pirate ship and so on, but I have no interest in it sticking around.
I don't know where it comes from. He's in his regular outfit with the iPad.
No. Wonder Woman says there's apparel there to help. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's addressed in the dialogue.
Yeah. But where did it come from? It's like, oh, here you go. Here's a jacket.
There is an Elseworld with Batman as a pirate, right?
It sounds like a thing.
It probably is.
And I feel like these designs would work perfect with Superman. You put him in there as like an admiral, and he's chasing down, Batman. And we get that cool jacket still, and maybe an eye patch.
There you go. It's called Batman Leatherwing.
There you go.
I would add the word fun to messy, Matt. If I'm being
just because it's messy doesn't mean it's bad. It's just because it is fun. The whole stuff with Manta and just like I feel like it got rushed along. Like there was plenty of issues, but like
what whole stuff with Manta? What's your point? Make it clear for the audience.
So Manta decides to go rogue because he has the powers of Aquaman. And he's just going to destroy everything to prove a point.
Until I think it's Tide points out, hey, if that Kraken was there, it'll kill everything on Earth, including you. And he's like, oh shit, I've made a huge mistake. Joe Bliff, I've made a huge mistake in that moment.
Right.
That was it. I mean, I don't hate him going kind of rogue, because just the idea that Lex is trying to call him back, like, okay, we've achieved what we want to do as the Legion of Doom. Time to come in, and he's like, no, you know what? You kidding me? I've got powers of the seas and shit. I'm on top of the world. That felt in character to me, at least.
I feel like for me, the whole like just zap, power's gone again. It felt just I guess we're at the end of the story.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I do think it was kind of worth it, though, for Black Man to say, oh, you can talk to fish. Oh, big deal. What are you going to do? And he's like, well, everyone on Earth's a fish right now, so...
Do you know what really bothered me about that? Is literally 10 seconds before that, he had those powers and was controlling a death kraken.
Yeah.
Why are you making fun of him? You were just going, hey, I'm basically a god. It makes no sense.
Because Manta he was too drunk on power, and he's still drunk even when it's taken away.
It's a coping mechanism. He's like, shit, I lost all my power. You just talked to fish, dude.
Yeah.
That's basically
he goes back into his bullying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's just trying to belittle him because he's trying to make himself feel better. That's all it is. And then Fish Adam Strange, and Fish New Superman, and Fish other people show up.
Etrigan was in there, I'm pretty sure.
He always looks like a fish, though. Who cares?
I mean...
Yeah, he has a piranha face.
Yeah. Different fish this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I do like that it sets the table for what's coming next with Aquaman.
I like that. Because I would describe the ending of this as... It's funny that I already mentioned Independence Day, because it reminded me a lot of Independence Day. This Aquaman riding the ship into the middle of the Kraken to get rid of it reminded me of the how the ending of Independence Day happens with the sacrifice. That's what made me think of. And then we see at the end he wakes up on a shore, and this sets up why he's got amnesia. It sets up why he's separate from Mira in Atlantis for a while for the start of Kelly Sue's story. So that's cool. I like that it's tied into the end of this. I think that's nice.
Yeah. Fine, whatever.
So that's cool. They do have a peaceful conclusion with these gods, where they, hey, by the way, this was Poseidon's doing. You were actually supposed to get peace from us. I want to offer you that. And Mira's even against it at first. Mira wants to just go on fighting, but he's like, no.
Into them.
Let me try. Let me try and
She is going to be such a bad queen.
Yeah, but we were rooting for it.
This is why humans fear you.
Yeah. I feel like Kelly Sue will eventually get to Mira and Atlantis when Aquaman comes back.
I hope so.
But it might be like an arc or two, and we might see maybe what's changed in Atlantis since he's been gone.
Connor, would you like to see Mairghread pull a full Cersei and just completely run things into the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah. She takes out the widowhood, but by taking out the widowhood, she realizes she doesn't realize the widowhood were keeping other things in check.
Yeah, and everything goes tits up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she gets banished back to Zebel. Oh man,
that'll be fun.
I guess the frustrating
shit out of this.
I guess the frustrating thing about them wanting to put this out as like a mini event thing and having the two specials, and therefore kind of rushing through it, kind of meant that that's maybe why we had such haphazard art changes throughout the whole thing, because they wanted to put it out in a month, when originally this would have been 6 issues. Because keep in mind, the first and last issues were double length, so this would have been 6 issues of Justice League.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that I don't think it's just because they wanted to go, hey, event. It was more, well, hang on, we need to set up the new run on Aquaman in this. This has got to be done by this point.
Right.
I mean, did they have to put out the new Aquaman run starting to say?
Well, no, but then they've got to get in a fill-in to do another Aquaman stuff, right?
I mean, they can do.
Let Abnett end the thing on his terms, though.
Yeah.
Instead of just that one issue.
Our complaint last week was that Abnett should have had a couple of issues to do more of an epilogue.
No, I agree, but...
That said about the art, too, whatever artist would have done, if it would have been consistent throughout, or you alternate them for different things... I think it would have been a little bit better. You know?
This just felt really random, didn't it?
Yeah, because we're getting different artists on different sections, and nothing feels cohesive.
Yeah, because it wasn't even like a different artist for each issue. That last issue we had, a Justice League, had at first it felt like, okay, this stuff's the Irving, this stuff's not. But then by the end of the issue, they just threw that out the window, and it was like, no, here's we're just swapping now for some reason. Yep. It felt really cobbled together from different artists. In a way that did not feel intentional.
Yeah, I feel like this issue is the same. It's like, you just get towards like the last few pages. It's like, oh, here's Manapul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the very first page, I think, as well, if I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess let's just you can bookend it.
Yeah.
You can just bookend it. There you go. It's fine. So yeah, so really haphazard. It's funny for an issue that's like twice the length. I don't feel like there's actually that much to talk to in terms of plot, because there was a lot of fighting. There's like rain towards the Kraken, and
it just wraps it up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's mostly fun for what it's doing.
Yeah.
Like,
we Luther with the doorknob. He's unlocked those other pieces now, so he is one step closer to doing what he needs
and he's got
to do.
The totality.
Yeah.
So, and now next we get to go see what Manhunter and Hawkgirl and John are up to.
Yeah.
Over on Thanagar Prime. So
which I'm looking
that should be fun.
To. Yeah. No. So yeah, no. I mean, I enjoyed this arc. I probably enjoyed this arc a little bit more than Witching Hour, just to compare the two monthly things we just had back to back.
I think Witching Hour had the high points. The start of it, and then the stuff in the other world.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this was more fun overall. It had a bit of a better flow to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You definitely feel like Snyder's like, I'm just gonna do whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
despite its messiness, it was messy in a really fun summer blockbuster way that just kind of.
Yeah.
Plus Pirate Superman.
Superman. Duh.
Half Fish Flash.
Yeah.
Variety of other things. It did give Aquaman and Mira a bit of a spotlight in this last issue as well, which was nice. So
yeah,
give it that. Matt, what are you going to rate Drowned Earth issue 1? Well, technically issue 2 or issue 4 or 5.
Yeah, the stupid naming of this.
Yeah.
If I could rate the naming of this, I'd give it a -4.
There you go.
Because I hate when they do that. But this issue, I'm going to give it a 7. Because it is kind of messy, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Connor?
I'm going to go with a 6. It's too messy to call it good, but it's still enjoyable.
I think I'll agree with Matt again. I hate that I'm agreeing with him exactly too much, but I think a 7 is a very fair score for this. Overall, I had a good time, but yeah, inconsistent art.
Yeah.
Probably the issue was they gave it a double issue, and it probably didn't need that, to be honest. They probably could have condensed it a bit.
And the thing is, if you half the issue size, you cut out one of those artists.
Yeah,
which immediately makes it feel less messy because you got 2 instead of 3.
I'm fairly certain Porter did enough to do like a whole 20-page issue.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I could see you doing Porter for the main stuff and then still have Manapul for the bit at the end.
Yeah,
like that would have worked.
I can see that. But hey, so there you go. That's Aquaman Justice. I had to double check and see which one was first.
Which way round? Yeah.
Drowned Earth issue 1. Blah blah blah. So we'll move on then to Detective Comics 993. James Robinson writing, Carmine D. Giandomenico on the art. This is the final part of this arc and the final issue, I assume, then of Robinson. So does that mean Tomasi's on the next issue? Are we on Tomasi next?
I hope so.
Really hope so, because if this wasn't the end, I'd be prepared to stop.
This is a strong reaction. I was not expecting such a strong reaction. I thought this was better than the last issue. I'm going to give it that.
Yeah, but I don't understand the point of this entire arc now.
That's fair.
Because we started with we're doing the fun bits with the the Fireflies, whatever. Then we got into Two-Face and it was like, it's about can he change, who's in charge, all that sort of stuff. The stuff, and then we had and then this issue was like, Two-Face is dead, whatever.
No, he's not.
No, exactly.
That was my reaction immediately.
Harvey Dent's dead, but Two-Face is still around. That's how I took it. This whole thing was a ploy to kill Dent.
It was just a twist. It was just a twist so that he wasn't dead the whole time, and it was all plot.
But like you say, the whole time you're like, no, he's not. What are you doing? So
Which, I mean, to be fair, at least when it reveals that Bruce never thought he was dead, it's kind of like, okay, right, he was kind of on our side then the whole time. So
yeah,
at least that works. Here's what I liked about the issue. It's not a lot, but the art's fantastic. All those double-page layouts.
I love that the double-page layouts are used for the flashback bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all the funeral stuff, basically. And then it switches to single pages for the last part of the book. I like that. Yeah. I do like this idea that Leviathan's been built up in multiple places. This idea
Oh no, yeah,
it's Leviathan,
right?
Yeah, because he said like Cobra's on its way out, Leviathan's building up, so he was trying to sell it to Leviathan, and I like that. It was like, no, Leviathan's rising, and we also see that, of course, in Silencer, which we'll talk about later.
No, real quick, not to sidetrack this. Morrison's made his return to DC, and that was what he kind of went out on. Was the Batman ink with Leviathan? Do you think this is his influence coming back? You know, like.
Maybe was the Silencer the reintroduction of it in the the current?
I believe
swing?
So.
Yeah. I wonder if they're just kind of going up from that. It's like, hey, that's working.
I would assume that. Let's say I don't think that the Silencer start using it because Bendis is planning a thing, but let's say Bendis is planning a thing with Leviathan and a big story in Action Comics. I wonder if Ben Robinson, because by the time he's writing his detective story, Bendis is already on board in the writers' room, or I wonder if this is just intentionally knowing that Leviathan's going to be a big thing in a story or two's time. He's like, oh, I'll use that. I'll put in a little thing here at the end, kind of.
It could be. I'm thinking even like Abnett has enough sway at DC that it could be stuff, because obviously he's the one writing Silencer, we don't know where he's going next after. I think he's still doing Titans, right? But after Aquaman, what's his next main book?
Abnett has a lot of books actually, because he's got Silencer, Titans, and Aquaman. Obviously, he's leaving Aquaman. He's doing at least a fill-in in Odyssey. Well, not he stays in that's debatable.
Yeah, I'm kind of expecting him to get another book somewhere soonish, and then be like, okay, and maybe we'll pick up more Leviathan threads there.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I like that part of it. I like them building up Leviathan. The actual point at the end where it's like, oh, Two-Face and Batman will do this forever, and the Two-Face enjoys it. Okay.
Yeah, didn't really feel like an ending though, did it? That final page.
No.
Yeah, it was kind of what it was.
And the stuff with Firefly too. I was just like, okay, well, are they only here because of the beginning? Like,
because he used to use fire to fake his death. That was it.
Just because.
I did laugh a little bit though when they just kind of left, and or more so Two-Face saying, "Yeah, I'd do the same if I were you too," and as they fly off. That did get a little chuckle out of me.
It does endear Two-Face a little bit more to me, just because he knows what he's about.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, okay, I'm crazy. Like,
that's what I'm not mad at this issue. I don't think it's particularly good because of the fake death thing.
I just like. I'm ready for Tomasi.
Oh sure, I'm expecting Tomasi to be good. Unless we get pages of Damien reading plaques off of memorials.
I've not really looked into it. I've not seen a lot of interviews about Tomasi stuff yet. What's the premise of his run? Like, is he doing just Batman? Is he bringing Damien in? Are we doing the team stuff?
I'm sure I read the solicit for the first one back when it first went up, but I can't remember it now.
Yeah, I don't really remember either. I know we got some teasers of things he's introducing in 1,000.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. If you want to pull up the solicit for issue 994, feel free to.
Could do.
Have a glance at it.
Just December solicits, wasn't it?
Yes.
The last time he was on Batman, I really enjoyed it. So
yeah,
me too.
Yeah, I'm curious. Just to rate this book then before we get to this Tomasi speculation. What are you giving it, Matt?
A 6. I'm glad it's over.
Yeah. No, I agree with a 6. I think it was relatively enjoyable in a kind of middling way, with a couple of nice beats here or there.
I did. I looked at the page count and I saw that the page count was kind of low, and then I realized, we're getting a lot of doubles.
Oh, it's because obviously in digital, a double just counts as 1, which is why it looks that way sometimes.
Right.
It's not that you're actually getting less bang for your buck.
But I saw it, and that's where I was like, oh, there's going to be a lot of doubles in this. So,
yeah.
So, Carl, what are you giving it?
I'm giving it a 5. I think it's kind of just really not great, and is elevated a bit by the great art.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, this is 3 in a row where me and Matt have agreed and then Connor's went lower. I'm not liking this trend. Especially since I like to think of myself as someone who's a bit more level-headed than... No offense, Matt. But a bit more level-headed than Matt.
Remember...
The mic is wet. See? Level-headed. That was not level. There was nothing about that was level.
All right.
It was level. It was just loud.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was always against the concept of rating. So, I'm trying to set it where Pete's not going to agree with me, and then he ends up agreeing with me.
Go crazy high or crazy low. It's the only way to do it. Go for the comedy numbers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll work. All right, what's the solicit for 994?
It is Commissioner Gordon calls in the Dark Knight detective when there's a murder at the Gotham City Aquarium, staged to look exactly like Thomas and Martha Wayne's crime scene, right down to the playbill and pearls. How does this bizarre homicide tie into the shadowy monster that attacks Dr. Leslie Tompkins? This creature looks to wage a war on Batman, and it's using Joker gas to do it.
This is the Batman story then.
It's a solo Batman book again, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it was more of a murder mystery, maybe really lean into detective stuff. It might still do that, but when you added in monster, I was like, okay, it's kind of a general Batman book then.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it'll be bad.
Oh, no, it doesn't. No, it's... It just sounds like a typical Batman arc, though, as opposed to like this is Tomasi's premise for his Batman run, kind of.
Yeah, it sounds like a Batman book.
Well, maybe that premise kicks off with 1,000, so we just have to get through. 6.
Yeah, the first arc is set up for the main course. Yeah.
I was really confused then for a second, so I was looking, going, "Where's the second issue in these solicits?" And then I realised we're missing a week from December, aren't we?
Yeah, first week of January is all the second. Week 4 stuff, basically.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on then. We'll move on to Wonder Woman 59, second issue in G. Willow Wilson's run. Cary Nord on the art as well. So
we start with the big thing?
Let's start with the big thing then. At no point in this book was there a single word from Wonder Woman that Ares They even implied that was Steve. In fact, not only that, we see where Steve is as well.
Yeah. Why the change?
Bullshit that was last time.
So you know what? We don't have to deduct a point from my score or Connor's score because we were correct.
Yeah, but he still looks like Steve. There's still a problem with the art.
I don't think it's a problem with the art if it's meant
to be fair, Matt, I never even thought that he looked like Steve. It wasn't until you said it that I went, oh, I guess he does.
I guess I can see the strong jaw and the blonde hair.
And the blue eyes and the stature and
I mean, he is a god. To be fair,
that's fine. But the page before, when we first see him early, he is the Hades as we know him with the dark hair.
Yes, but he's been reborn, Matt. He's been rebirthed.
Yeah,
new body, new Ares, new cool stuff.
Do you know the funny thing is some people on Twitter actually said that they agreed with Matt, and now I'm just like, well, all of you suck it.
I feel that's on the creatives. I feel like they needed to.
This is really interesting because me and Pete obviously last time got none of this. Matt was insistent, and we were like, well, I mean, I guess I can see it. I did some Googling. There were a couple of news places that seemed to think that it looked like Steve, but not all of them. Some of them weren't mentioned at all. So it's interesting.
I don't know, it's kind of like when they draw, Superman and Batman that look a lot alike, and you're like, well, just differentiate them enough.
Because the argument last time from me,
hairstyles,
and this was where my criticism was going to come in if it was true that it was Steve's body or whatever that Matt was saying, was that to me. It never occurred to me because if they're going to do something like that, they'll make it clear. And Wonder Woman would have had a line that said Steve ? And that'd be it. Because you make it clear. Because let's be honest here, when it comes to just simple faces that look similar, you can't really tell people like comics.
I think the idea of them looking similar could be interesting. Not to look exactly the same, but the idea that
thematically,
that for Wonder Woman that her boyfriend and her longtime partner and stuff, actually her greatest enemy kind of looks like him now. There's something there that thematically that doesn't have to be addressed but still works and isn't a critique of the art.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cover right now. It doesn't look like Steve in the cover.
Did someone else do the cover? Yeah, it's Dodson's cover.
There you go. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about this issue.
Maybe just because the Dodsons are better artists than the interior artists.
Look, the Dodsons are fantastic artists, but Cary Nord is great too.
Yeah, they are good in this book. I don't know what Matt's talking about.
Yeah, see, how do you look like that on the art that's a different hairstyle than Steve has? I don't know. Enough to differentiate it. So
I mean, it's just windswept a little bit. That's all. It's the same.
I'm looking at it right now, and the guy that's tied up looks just like the guy in the first page. It still looks like Steve to me. So, and then you put the helmet on, and it's fine. So
what Cary Nord is trying to say is that Steve is on par with a god, in that he is a prime specimen of masculinity.
Sure.
I love that Matt was wrong, so he's doubling down. He's doubling down the criticism there.
I'm not wrong, and you're not wrong, and neither are right. I'm just saying they're observations that I guess
you were wrong in saying that this was Steve.
Well, okay, that's fine. Because that's how I read it, right?
You just said you weren't wrong.
Well, no, I thought you were talking about it looking like Steve.
This is gold. All right. So Steve's been kidnapped by a griffin.
Yeah.
Just to spit it into the book itself, right?
And there's a what are they called? Like Mr. Tumnus.
There's a minotaur.
Minotaur.
Centaur?
A satyr.
Oh, satyr, yeah.
Yeah, there's a satyr named Cadmus, which I was like, okay, that sure.
There's also
which led me to research Cadmus.
What do you call a horse with wings? I assume there's a name for it.
Pegasus,
it's a Pegasus, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool.
You know? So you have these mythological creatures holding Steve captive.
Who seem to be who have been kicked out of their home and are now trapped on Earth. Yep. And they're looking for refuge.
Yep.
Intriguing.
I like that.
Yeah, that's just hinting at bigger stuff for the arc or the run here.
I'm super into the idea of the run getting into the mythological things again.
Yep.
I'm really into that stuff. Matt is a fan of those things as well.
Yeah, that's why I like Wonder Woman, because it's not quite magic, but it hits with the mythology stuff. You know, Rafa gave us Ferdinand, the cooking minotaur.
Yeah, not a minotaur. He likes to remind you he's not that.
I know, because he's not from Crete. Yeah. I forget where he's from, but I'm just gonna use it as a full name.
So one of the things that we really praised in the last issue was this ideological conflict that was going to pop up, because Wonder Woman actually kind of agreed with Ares, just from what we'd heard her say to Etta, about who she sides with in this fight, and the fact that Ares was probably going to go further than she would create this interesting kind of moral debate. Like, do I side with him?
Wasted no time.
Yeah, no. Wilson here went. Most of the issue here is basically, there's a rocket firing towards the rebels, who Ares is protecting because they're the weak and they're the ones who are being preyed upon. And so him and Wonder Woman both fly off to nab it. Which, by the way, the panel of Ares just grabbing it, it's kind of like, it reminds me of the start of Commando when Arnold's walking around with a big tree trunk. On his shoulder.
I can see that.
He's holding the rocket, and he just says, well, this will just go down here very nicely, and he just launches it back at the attackers, and Wonder Woman's like, no,
that's the part.
Not
he doesn't even
attackers.
launch at the attackers. That would, I think Wonder Woman would have been not okay with that, but at least she could have understood that. He just throws it down at the village below.
At the village of the people that he thinks are...
Yeah, who are of the attackers, that's what I meant.
No. He makes the assumption that because they're not joining the rebels, they're siding with the tyrants. And
okay, sure.
Wonder Woman's point is, well, you can't know that, and you're just causing more...
I just meant
firing.
I just meant the opposite of what... of who the people are targeting, though. That's all I meant.
Civilians. They're
civilians.
Citizens. That's it.
Yeah, that's all I meant. I just meant they're on that side of the fence. That's all I meant.
You're as bad as Ares.
Yeah. Because you don't know that. We don't know what side they were actually on. He just throws it at civilians.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they're part of the same state, if you will. That's all I'm saying.
All part of the same state. That's why it's a civil war.
The same party of the state. Look, I know what I meant, and I'm writing what I meant.
I don't think you are. I think you're on Ares' side here.
I'm not on Ares' side. I agree with Wonder Woman here.
Connor, remember, only says steal in absolutes.
I was using a general term, but it got picked apart over the next 3 minutes.
Because it was the wrong term.
I might have been wrong about Ares.
I only said attackers because I couldn't remember what they were called. I didn't remember what the group of people were.
And then you doubled down on it. You did a Matt. The point is,
No, I'm doubling down because you're giving me shit for it. When all I meant was that they're on that political line, on that side of the line. That's all I meant.
This is what we're saying: is you don't know that they're on that side of the line. They just live there. But presumably, so do a lot of the rebels. They live in that area. This is the point of the issue: is that Ares just went, well, they're there. They're not fighting, so they must be evil. They must be on his side.
I don't think that's the sole point. I think part of the point is that even if they're on that side, they don't deserve to have rockets thrown at them just because they're aligned with the people in power.
No, exactly, because they're still civilians. But the fact that he did it so nonchalantly because that's his idea of war.
Of course, I think that's the larger point here is the way he handles this and the way that he's willing to just kill countless people.
Because while Ares is the god of war in traditional Greek mythology, so is Athena, but they're different aspects of war.
Yeah.
Like, Athena's the strategic, chess game style of war versus Ares, who's...
Athena's the bigger picture, the battle plan, and Ares is on the field.
Exactly. So his judgments are going to be... And I like that Wilson's getting into that because, to Ares... they're just part of war, They are. I forget what the actual term is. Collateral. No, it's collateral damage. They're just collateral damage. It's an accepted loss.
Which is an interesting idea that he's going by this logic that just because you're not aligning yourself with someone, that automatically means you're part of the enemy.
Which I think with Wilson too, you can look at not just war and in the current political climate.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And garner a lot of that.
If you're not actively fighting, then you're part of the problem.
Exactly. And so I feel these are the type of stories that Wonder Woman's meant for because she is that bastion of compassion and truth and whatnot. And this is the perfect concept for her to tackle.
Yeah, and there's like shades here of right and wrong. Obviously, Ares is just completely wrong in what he just did. There's no debating that. But it's interesting because there are applications where you can say, well, there's truth to this sometimes. Where if you do just ignore something, you don't take a stand in it, then you kind of are just letting the status quo happen.
Well, like the civil rights, like during that whole thing, and again,
that's
that
whole thing.
Out of. Well, I don't want to go
just the way you phrased it. That whole thing.
Yeah, I don't want to go into the full thing, but we got X-Men out of it between Professor X and Magneto, and here I feel like Wonder Woman can tackle it just as effectively as the X-Men.
Sure, yeah. No, I think what I like about this is it's a moral debate personally for Wonder Woman, but it's also an ideological kind of commentary on how to tackle situations like this, whether it be actual conflicts on a military scale like this or something a bit more social. There's subtext.
And we get a talking griffin and Pegasus,
and I think that's a wood nymph there as well.
Okay.
The green girl, I'm pretty sure, is a wood nymph.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah. And then Steve kicks a Pegasus, not a griffin. Kicks the griffin.
Oh man, if he kicked the Pegasus, we know that it's sort of the Scott Snyder book because he hates horses.
Yeah, Steve makes a bit of a mad dash.
Running down the mountain with his hands tied.
He'll be coming down the mountain when he comes. Not enough singing on this show. Right, your turn.
But I do like the artist kept that. I like the figure that Ares cuts with the big helmet, and
Yeah, I love that. For most of the issue, you can still see inside the helmet. It's the lights there, and you can see his face, which traditionally you can't.
Right.
And then as soon as he makes that decision to throw it down, it's all back in shadow again.
Yeah,
I like that.
Because then he tries to wreck the attacker's planes. Are we satisfied with that phrasing? Just the way upset anyone here.
Yeah, but see now though I could that makes sense because those are the actual people dropping bombs.
Yeah.
So I understand, and even I would see Diana being like, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, but obviously no, you don't just kill people. You don't just kill people willy-nilly, and she has to save the jet and the guy in it, which makes Ares attack her because he's like, "What?
Right?
How dare you defy me?"
So are we still? Here's the thing too. Are we still in the continuity where she was the goddess of war?
Yes, as far as I know.
Okay. Because then that makes this really interesting. You have the goddess of war versus the god of war.
Well, yeah, I think that's the idea, is that Ares thinks that she should understand because she's been in his place. It's just like she should get the decision. But obviously she's better than he is. So
yeah. So Steve's
my favorite version of Ares is from that Azarello, the old man.
Yeah.
So Steve's escape attempt does not go so well. He gets picked back up. I actually laughed out loud at one point. The Griffin says something about "you disgusting beakless creature," and I'm like, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that against someone. But he's like, so they're taking them to the leader, and Steve refers to it as a he. In the who's saying about he, maybe implying of a goddess.
I'm
of
intrigued.
Some kind.
Are we thinking one of the gods?
That'd be my obvious first guess, I think.
The fact that they're all kind of monsters and creatures, I'm wondering if it's the mother of monsters. I forget her name, but she was one of the Titans.
Oh yeah, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, that's the thing I was thinking. Like, typical mother figures in mythology have Hera, but she wouldn't. She is too into the image of perfection, right?
Yeah, it could be Gaia as well because she's Mother Earth.
Could be Gaia, yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. It'd be cool if it ends up being someone we don't expect from Wonder Woman mythos.
I can see it being Artemis.
Yeah.
She's a goddess of the hunt, but all these creatures still respect that.
So the goddess, the goddess Artemis, not the Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Yes,
Artemis.
The goddess Artemis. Yeah. I had already wiped that Artemis from my mind.
Which is hilarious because in Roman mythology she's known as Diana. So there'd be another, if Wilson's going for this whole dichotomy of belief and the differences in things, having Artemis be another player in the game would be really cool.
That'd be cool.
I thought this show was better than the first one. I'm actually...
Yeah, me too, and I was related to the first one.
Yeah, upward trend for this run so far. It's only been 2 issues, admittedly, but still, upward trend. Good
I'm so glad I didn't have to go back and knock half a point off.
Yes, yeah, that was good.
I'm just glad this is the realm that Wonder Woman's playing in again, and there's no new gods and that stuff, because while that can be fun, this feels more natural.
The fascination with bringing the new gods into this later, once we've really established what version of mythology we're playing with here and the old gods, kind of contrast that with new gods. I can see that being interesting later on in the run, just not straight away.
Right.
Yeah, that was good. Matt, what are you rating it?
Yeah, this is an 8.
Connor?
8.5. I'm going up for once.
Oh, so you are. Now I'm inclined to
drops it on a 9.
No, I'm actually going to be with Connor and go with 8.5. That was really good. And the art is very good. Obviously, Matt's not as much of a fan of Nord, but yeah.
I like the way that they draw Ares in this one. So
I think every time Wonder Woman's leaping into action, it looks so good.
Yeah, the sequence with the jets is pretty good too.
Yeah, no, I like
overall,
the jets.
Still, I think it just comes down to a taste thing. And I don't say that it's bad.
I think the art has a really great balance of having these great action sequences and then being hyper expressive with Wonder Woman when it needs to be.
I also I feel like so far she's got a really good grasp as well of not overwording the book.
Yeah,
it flows really well. There's not.
Yeah, because this is the first I've ever read Wilson, but is that indicative of most of her work? Is she...
I would say from what I've read of Miss Marvel, she's a bit more wordier on that. There's a lot more kind of... But it kind of makes sense for that book because she's a teenager who's really nervous all the time, so she's constantly talking about her feelings.
So, filling space with speech. Yeah,
but it feels more suited to the character. Whereas here, Wonder Woman's a lot more she can crack out a good speech now and then when she needs to, but for the most part she doesn't have to babble.
Kind of blunt and to the point. Yeah.
So
there's one of my favorite panels is one of the dialogue list ones. Is just after she grabs him with the lasso, and the axe just falls to the floor, and you just get that silhouette and the thunk.
Yeah.
And it's a moment that you almost don't even need because you see the axe leave his hand, you see, okay, that's gone. But it just takes that extra beat to pause on it, which I really like.
We'll move on then to The Flash, issue 59, Joshua Williamson writing, Rafa Sandoval on the art. This is the next part of this second Force... Well, actually, this is the first Force Quest story, but like this and the last one I felt really linked together. The last few I felt linked together, rather. But this is... they're in Gorilla City, and there's been murder. Now, we find out that a lot of the city did evacuate. It's not like they're all... the whole city...
But that's good.
Dead. Yeah.
But we know that
we
after
need
the
our
invasion...
gorillas.
Yes, we need gorillas for later. That's important.
Well, after the invasion, though, it feels like Gorilla City is kind of thin, as it is, after what we saw in Flash earlier, with the Force Storm and whatnot. So I like that they explained that here, too.
Yeah.
So
obviously Barry wants to investigate, and he feels guilty for not coming back, and it hints to the past with Solivar and how Solivar was going to teach him about the forces. We find out in this, actually, when they see the hologram later on, that Solivar knew about the other forces, and we get this idea of the avatars of each force. And any comparison from before, that this was kind of like his different core, like the Green Lanterns have.
Yep.
This is kind of fitting right into that mold. It's like,
yep.
Because by the end of the book, we get this other the Strength Force avatar at the end.
Forza.
Forza. Yeah. Who's she's got her own suit, she's got her own symbol, so it's like kind of a triple.
She's tapped into it.
Triple peak thing.
Yeah, more so kind of like how Barry did with there was a cat telling the camera.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Barry did with the Flash suit. Like it just kind of appeared. I imagine the same happened with her. That she's just kind of, I don't want to say destined, but, kind of how the Speed Force called out to Barry. Maybe the Strength Force called out to her.
Yeah, so they get attacked by some gorillas that turn out to be robots, and then...
that was cool.
Some scientists, scientist gorillas specifically, just to make that clear, take them into the lab and...
We're like, oh,
how you know they're scientists?
Sorry about that.
They got lab coats on, Matt.
Exactly. Yeah. I loved it. I was getting Planet of the Apes vibes for a second, and I got a little bit worried, and I was like, oh no, okay. This is fine.
It's the eye pieces as well.
Yeah.
That really does it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I love when they get into the gorillas and their whole foundation of their society is the Speed Force, but in a different way, where it is reminiscent of the Force in Star Wars. Because it's this thing that they're aware of, but they, And
they kind of worship it, but they don't necessarily have control.
Exactly. I don't want to say they don't interact with it, because they kind of do. Like, we've seen
they do
Rod
at points.
Things.
Some of them do.
Yeah. But it's never like, I do want a Gorilla Speedster at one point, kind of how we had at the beginning.
How have we not got one?
I don't know, but I need it.
They'll have them.
Yeah.
It will. Give it time.
Williamson, if you're listening, please.
This is
the fastest ape alive.
Yeah?
What's that ape?
Fastest simian alive.
Fastest simian alive. There you go.
I mean, if you remember, the next step after expanding out to the other core is, well, we need to double up on members.
Yeah, that's true.
But see, I don't... So while I'm getting Green Lantern vibes, I don't feel like a lot of these are going to be around for a while.
I feel like
they're
getting a cross between Green Lantern and then the Avatar stuff. The Swamp Thing and the Animal Man.
Yeah. And so while I feel like they'll be there, I don't feel like they're going to be the same. Where we're going to be interacting with them a lot, because looking how what Solivar had said, like they are meant to look after the multiverse. Right?
Yeah. Because it also meant because the hologram cuts out, and then at the end we hear the scientists say that, hey, why didn't you tell him everything about the forces? And it's like, oh, he's not ready yet. So there's more to learn. There's more stuff going on. I do actually really like the sequence where they call Commander Cold to get energy readings, because he's got future tech, or he knows how to read them because he's from the future.
Oh, and you know who he's fighting?
I forget. Who was he fighting?
Razor. Razor, which doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but Razor was the villain Wally was fighting in the very first issue of The Flash I ever bought when I was 8 years old.
Right, okay. That's why it's so important.
I saw him, and I was like, oh! Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I mean, like, it made me very happy.
I'm liking Commander Cole's sort of relationship with both Barry and Iris now. I think it's fun. I also like that he seems to be working with Detective Burns back in Central City.
Yeah. it's Williamson creating that supporting cast again.
Yeah.
You know, for every character we don't see, like Godspeed. What was his name?
August.
August. We get someone new to replace them, whether it's Commander Cold or Burns or who was the cop that he was working with at Iron Heights? He isn't what I mean.
Oh god, I'm blanking on her name now.
I want to say Kate.
Kristen. That is Kristen.
Kristen. There you go.
You were there with the K.
Yeah. So it was just, I like it all. And then these villains in Gemini, they kind of annoyed me in the first issue, but I kind of like how they operate here. It might just because they're giving me pulpy Indiana Jones grave robbers.
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling them,
but I kind of like them here.
What a surprise! Connor didn't like something.
No, I didn't like them. I like most of the stuff in the issue. I didn't really like those.
Well,
two.
I like how the gorillas go, hey, it's the ones that attacked, and they go, no, we'd love to take credit for this, but this isn't us. So
which is a good point. We have no idea who killed the gorillas.
No.
Because Barry's convinced it's Grodd, but then the scientist's like, no, there's no way it was him.
No, and I like how he said the warrior gorillas are still on his side, so they would just let him in. There's no, you know.
Yeah.
What we need
is
we need a mini-series exploring ape politics.
And we do.
Sure, I'll take it.
Give me Congorilla in there, too. Give me Congo Bill. Oh.
Why not?
So... yeah, now, I mean, Gemini, I think, are alright. I'm liking the idea of them hunting the Flash around the world. Like, they're like, chasing after him. I like that. And I like the reveal at the end of the Strength Force avatar, whatever her name's going to end up being.
That's Forza.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, I mean, but I mean, like, in the way of the Flash, like...
character name.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think it is.
Yeah, I thought that was.
You think Forza's just her hero name, or for lack of a better term?
Yeah, because in Spanish, because they're Corto Maltese,
does it mean
which is in the
force,
Caribbean,
something along those lines.
And Fuerte is the word for strong, so that
oh, okay,
that base is there with Fuer. So Fuerza, and it goes with Flash. It's got the alliteration, you know.
They're all going to begin with the F somehow. Just you watch.
I'm wondering how they do that, because we know that the Stealth Force Grodd's tapped into. So I'm wondering how they do that one, because I don't necessarily think Grodd's going to be the avatar for that.
No.
Or even the turtle baby, you know?
Okay. You think we'll get someone else?
I don't know. I wonder how they're going to touch on that, because Williamson's pretty key in there with Snyder and Tynion. So, you know.
No, that's true.
You know, he knows what the plans are.
It'll be called the Halt.
The Halt.
Yes. Because you halt. When he decides...
I get it.
When he decides it, when he wills it, you halt.
We understand, we just don't like it.
Well, no, that's fine. You got to make him look like Juggernaut, though. He's got to be this big, bulky, you know, just like stop of a man, like a doorstop.
Which is actually, I think it's interesting that the Strength Force avatar isn't big and bulky. Remember when Trickster and Flash were infected with it?
Somehow in Sandoval's art is less bulky than Flash.
Well, no, and I think that's fine, because I feel like it's not just physical strength. No, it's going to be emotional strength.
Manipulation, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's gravity manipulation as well. So I feel when we get her origin, it's going to be like, because Corto Maltese is constantly in a civil war, that she's had the strength to persevere, whatever side she's on.
Yeah.
You know? So.
I like that Barry pointed out that he was here earlier. Like, I like that callback back when he was stopping that Rogues mission.
Yeah, that was fun.
I know so many people have so many issues with this book, but I just don't see it. I don't know if it's I'm such a Flash fan that it's checking all these boxes. I'm just too close to it. But it's just, this is an all-time run.
Yeah, I've been digging it. I think since Perfect Storm, which was the one right before Flash War, I think since then, I liked it before then as well, but I think since then it's been especially good.
It feels like one long cohesive story. Like, everything's had payoff, and that's how I like my arcs. Like, again, I came up under John's, you know, reading his stories, and they did that a lot. You know, his Teen Titans, his Flash, his Green Lantern. You don't give that too much anymore, because there's so much shifting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the shifting's annoying. I like a good long run.
I agree. Also, just seriously, can we get Sandoval off Flash? I don't mind Sandoval in other books, but his Flash is ugly.
I would agree that his Flash is the weakest part of the art in this book, but
which is kind of problematic when it's the Flash.
But everyone else, the gorillas, all that stuff, all looks quite good.
No, that's why I say just get him off the Flash. I don't want him off all books because I like him on other stuff. It's just his Barry, he has such a bulky body. He has a fat face.
Connor's made the editor of Flash, and he's just like, Sandoval, you're writing now. Well, I don't write. Yeah, well, you don't draw either, so you're out of here.
No. Just go do another book where, because we've seen him be perfectly good elsewhere. Never usually a standout artist, but usually, solid, consistent, reliable.
It doesn't bother me much.
I'm just except the Flash is still pretty good.
I'm just so into the story, the art's not bothering me that much. I mean, I get where you're coming from. But
there are panels of Barry's face that it looks like he's had an allergic reaction. He's swollen up.
Well, don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to Collins and Porter being back on the book and whoever else, but yeah.
Giandomenico.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss him on Flash. Yeah. It was the best.
He seems like he's doing other stuff though, because he did like 2 or 3 issues of Tech there, so it's like he was properly on that for a little bit. So yeah, let's rate the book. Matt, what are you giving Flash?
8.5. Thoroughly enjoyed this one.
Connor,
I give it a 7.5.
I will give it a straight 8.
Oh, look at that!
I didn't match with anyone else.
First time you digress from either of us.
Yeah, look at that. Straight 8. So yeah. Anyway, so we'll move on to Batgirl number 29. Sorry? Why are you shaking your head at?
You completely skipped action. So.
Oh, well, I skipped that like 4 books ago.
I know.
Well,
I just realized that when you made it to Flash, I thought you were moving up Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I did as well. I remembered because you did Detective and then Wonder Woman, and I thought, oh, you're doing Wonder Woman because whatever, you'd spotlighting it.
No, I just skipped over it in my list. In that case, we're moving on.
I know not to correct you as you're talking because you'll yell at me. So.
Yeah, but we've had a pause in the recording since then.
No.
Yeah, we have.
Since we
had one after Wonder Woman.
Yeah, we had one after Wonder Woman.
Oh.
There was a very, very brief pause, but we did have one.
Yeah, you had your chance.
I'll be honest, I forgot by the time we finished Wonder Woman because we had.
Yeah, because you don't read Action Comics.
Yeah.
No, because I remembered at the start of that book, I remembered as like, oh, it's weird, we're not going on to that.
Okay.
But then, yeah.
Without further ado, we will move on to Action Comics 1000. What are we on? 5. There you go. Why does Connor know that? He's not.
Because I saw all this week, for whatever reason, there's been a bunch of news articles going, "Oh, here's what happened in Action Comics 1005."
Oh, yeah.
Look,
they're making a big deal about.
And I'm like,
Red
yeah,
Cloud.
okay, cool.
Yeah, Red Cloud.
And it's
by the
way,
every time I go to say Red Cloud, I say Red Tornado by accident. Every time.
So, Pete, when this book opens, Bendis has been giving us the workspaces of different characters. Is this meant to be goods?
That's what I thought, because we've went through everyone else, because it's been a different desk every time, right?
Or is it meant to be the gossip columnist? I can't tell. It's one or the other.
Why would she be trying to contact Amanda Waller?
I don't know. But I also don't know why it would be good, though, either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
And there's a lot of Adam love in here with
Ryan Choi.
Palmer. Oh, wait. Hold on.
There's several mentions of Ryan Choi in this.
It says Robinson on the cup. So, with the red eye.
Anyway, so we have one of the mob bosses try to buy Dial H for Heroes Dial.
Yep, I love that. Turns out it's a counterfeit one.
Yes,
but
it's counterfeit. Yes.
The discussion here on how it works and like, do you just get the suit? Do you get the name? Do you have to come up with that stuff on your own? Like, I just love Bendis kind of poking fun at that. And we know that it's coming later. You know, we got announcements that he fully plans to use it with Jimmy and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and we get the Question making a guest appearance because he wants to know who Red Cloud is. Some humor here because the guy realizes that someone's behind him and he's like, "Is it Batman? Mm-hmm. Please don't be Batman." And the Question, makes his dramatic entrance.
And I love it, just like the Gypsy said. So this guy's been going to different people, and even a fortune teller said that Batman was going to bust him up.
What I like about the art here is there's like the dial itself is used as a layout in like 3 or 4 pages, and it sort of moves position as to where it is until we get the reveal that it's the Question on the final page of the scene.
Yeah.
But yeah. So here's the thing. So the next scene's at the Daily Planet, and it's good talking to Clark and try to like dig for information, and he's like talking about Lois and stuff. Am I crazy, or does he just take off his glasses in front of her like it's nothing?
I don't see it. Yeah, no, he doesn't.
Bottom of the page.
Oh, crap, he does. What the hell, Clark?
He takes them off and smells at her. As if it's nothing. And I thought, did we switch to a different character without me realising? And I'm like, no, that's Clark.
No.
For all the conversation, that's him.
I didn't even notice it until just now.
I read those the 4 panels on the bottom of this page like 6 times on when I read it yesterday, because I'm like, surely there's an explanation for why he's doing this, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. But it's obviously not a mistake. Like that would take. Surely the artist would go, "Hey Bendis, are you sure you want me to draw Clark taking his glasses off?" And he's like, "Yes."
Yeah, maybe it's part of his plan. He's on to whatever, you know what I mean?
I mean,
because she's even before we get to the end, he's been onto her from the kryptonite to different things.
I mean, is it suggesting that he's so good that he's disguised? The glasses are only part of it. It doesn't actually.
Maybe because there's that stuff about his posture and just the way that he holds himself, that he's unrecognizable, because you would never guess that Clark and Superman are the same person.
It felt so weird.
It's problematic, Pete. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I was going through this because I want to know who Red Cloud was so bad that not that I was speed reading, but I wasn't taking in all the art panels, right?
Yeah,
I probably just read the bubbles and didn't even notice it.
So Melody Moore calls him to come and meet her, and meanwhile the mob boss is like complaining to her boss. They're in the tank. It's like, hey, we're supposed to be a hidden society, and everyone's starting to find out about us, and someone killed the Question for me, and she's really upset. And she's also like, can I speak to the Red Cloud? Is the Red Cloud here right now? And then I love how one of the other monsters is like, oh, I didn't even think of that. She could be here at any point. I'm saying she because I know it's a she, but
no.
But
well, we kind of always known that she was a she.
Did we?
From the beginning, yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
It's always had a feminine form.
I thought I was saying that just because I knew who it was.
I know what you're saying.
No, you have always said she.
Have I? Okay, yeah. Fair enough. So Clark goes to meet Melody Moore, and she tells him this story, but she had to go to this gala, and she met the mayor. And it was very suspicious because the mayor basically implied that, hey, you should probably stop investigating those fires. So she's come to Clark with this, because Superman said to reach out to Clark Kent. And that's basically, so he's on the case. And we get him flying off into the sky, and he X-ray visions the mayor's office, and the mayor's on the floor, with like
in a fetal position.
Yeah, he's got an empty glass of presumably whiskey or something, whatever he was drinking, sitting lying in the floor next to him. He's in a fetal position, and because Clark uses X-ray vision, and he's like, "Huh, bad time." Like, yeah, no shit. No shit. And that's when red smoke starts to appear around him, and then the Red Cloud attacks him. And it's very vicious because it's got like in his nostrils, got in his mouth. It's a whole thing. And
he has to speed away to get away from them.
Yeah, because there's a few pages here of just art, and he's kind of like falling down inside the Red Cloud until he lands on this roof, and then he speeds away, flies off. The art's fantastic here. It's just a few pages.
The bottom of that panel where they added like a motion blur and it's him using his vision because you can tell he's looking around.
Yeah, but in super
to see
speed.
Where they went in super speed, and it's
Yeah.
just I've never seen that done before.
Yeah,
So
it was nice.
that's really cool.
And this is basically the issue. We basically just be landing the red cloud, landing on a roof, and she's basically just be like, "Oh, I just went face to face with the greatest of all time, and I live to tell a tale. I chased off Superman." And then we see that it's good, which is not the most surprising thing in the world because she's the one. I mean, it was going to either be her, and Melody didn't make a lot of sense, but they're the only two new characters, big prominent characters.
Well, too, and also I had it. It was maybe the gossip columnist, right?
Oh, really? You thought it was going to be her?
Yeah, well, just because we've gotten a lot of her lately.
Oh, okay.
So that was definitely a red herring. But I'm starting.
But not a red cloud.
Yeah. I'm starting to wonder if she got a hold of the hero dial, and that's how she has these powers.
Oh, she has the real one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Don't they only last for a short amount of time though?
Yeah, but maybe she has a plus one. She has one that gives you permanent.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty good. I liked the more stuff because she goes, yeah, Superman told me to come see Clark Kent. So I like that. I like that they're building a rapport.
Yeah, I like how she leaves that scene putting her hood up. So she's like, it's like Deep Throat. She's coming to meet a reporter, and then she's like, sneaking off into the night so no one can see her.
Yep.
All the conspiracy in Metropolis. No, I dug this actually quite a bit. I'm liking action and Superman. Admittedly, I think Superman maybe won this month between the two because it was that great Zod issue. So that's the first time I think Superman's taken it from action in the month.
Both are pretty strong though. I think I really enjoyed this issue though too. So, just the Red Cloud reveal. I was kind of hoping it'd be something different, something that we couldn't have guessed. But
what I like about the two books though, it's kind of like how we often say about how Detective should be the more detective-y focused Batman book. This is the more reporter-focused Superman book, whereas Superman itself is doing big cosmic, super beings.
I mean, it's getting the whole planet into the Phantom Zone type stuff. This is mob bosses in the hero dial,
and conspiracies and investigations. Yeah, it's a different side of it, which is nice.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So now it was great. So like you said, we've only got one issue left of Sook, and then Epting's coming up, which is not a bad thing. I am looking forward to Epting.
Epting on Superman, I needs it.
Yeah, and Sook's working on a secret thing with Bendis, which could be Superman related, could be completely standalone, could be someone else, who knows. But like the issue a lot. I think oddly though, I will say that it did read really quick, and I'm like, another month, okay. So
yep.
Which is a nice complaint to have because it means I'm enjoying the book, but.
Well, because we were used to both of them double shipping, so it was like, we don't have to wait, Yeah.
So, what are you giving it, Matt?
8.5. Art's fantastic. The story's pretty good.
I'll agree with the 8.5. I think it doesn't quite have the spark to give get the amazing 9, but
no,
I'll give it an 8.5.
Yep.
So that will take us on to Batgirl issue 29. Mairghread Scott on the writing, of course, and Paul Pelletier on the art. This is Batgirl racing to the art gallery because Grotesque has got a mass murder planned to cover up the fact that he swapped all the art with the fake art that he's got. Obviously the dark web are in this.
Worm.
Yeah, Worm. Which gets into the fight and stuff later because it starts taking over. There's several people who have got the implants or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And they turn into robot. Well, not robots, but
what are they called? The
cybernetic controlled drones or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, there's a name that Babs uses.
Yeah. So that's kind of wrapped up the first arc of the run from Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was pretty solid. I think this arc as a whole has been a kind of a simple enough kind of settling in run or arc to sort of
testing the waters.
Getting a feel for Babs. What I think is my favourite part of this run so far is the characterization of Babs and Jim.
The whole Gordon's thing.
Yeah.
Gordons are tough.
Yeah, I think this issue might be my least favourite of the arc. Just when it resulted to, let's fight the cyber drones.
That's a fair complaint.
Yeah.
I do.
By the way, they're called terminals.
Terminals. There you go. Which actually is a really fitting name for them. Do you know what I really like about this though? Is I like the idea that the cop who's been taken over ultimately makes the right choice and then gets killed anyway. I think the worm stuff is more interesting here than it actually got in Nightwing, because it sets up this idea that if this guy's controlling anyone like this, it can just snap its fingers and dead. That's what happens here. He just gets killed.
Yeah, there's consequences for dealing with it.
Yeah.
And the whole, I like that Babs hitting on his addiction, and then him telling what it is, and she's kind of like, oh, because that wasn't what she was expecting. You know? So I just like how that played. But yeah, the strength here was the stuff with Gordon and Babs, and
all the character stuff's great. And I said I wasn't too big on the fight section. It still is fine. It's as fight sections go. Art's still good. There's nothing wrong with it. It felt a little bit like, oh, it's the end of the arc, so we have to have a bit of a fight.
Yeah, that's fair. I like what they did with the doubt here, because both Gordons at some point in this issue kind of doubt themselves. At one point, Babs basically gives up and says she doesn't matter, and then it's like, no, wait, what am I talking about? I'm being stupid. Like, get up. Gordons don't give up. And I liked it when Gordon's in the hospital afterwards. Jim Gordon, that is, and he's lying there on the bed. He kind of cries a little bit and says, I give this size so much, and yet it somehow finds a way to just take more.
And I like how Babs like, well, we both can't be the one that's upset, but then she's kind of like, well, no, sometimes it's just life.
Yeah.
So I like that she's coming to that. There's over an arc, there's already been a change. Yeah. In her.
And so the little tease at the end where it maybe sets up some future stories here, which implies that Jim Gordon's going to be a prominent character in this, just ongoing.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. It makes sense. So Dad.
Yeah.
But the FBI show up looking for him. Like, we need to speak to Jim Gordon. So we'll see how
this is definitely about Junior, right?
Very possibly. I'm also wondering if maybe the Darknet framed him for like all the patents or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, because Junior we know is showing up in Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah.
So I don't think we'll get him here at least until after that.
I think it'll be after that, because they set him up in the annual, right? Or in issue 25 with the extra stories. We set up that he will in some capacity be around.
Yeah,
and that's what made me think about it, but I forgot about him showing up in Batman.
And that's only in like a couple of months where that's happening. So I imagine we'll get him.
Isn't the first issue of December?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's
Batman Who Laughs. Is that a mini?
Yeah, 6 issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, by then that could be enough time. That puts it about late spring.
It puts it to about the end of the second arc of this, depending on how long the arcs are.
Give or take. Yeah. I would think, okay, it's third arc. That's where we can do Junior.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could do in the second, but I just assuming it comes after the.
I mean, she has a legitimately great serial killer brother. Like, you can't not use that every so often.
Yeah,
such a good creation.
Even do the Hannibal thing where they have to team up. You know what I mean? Like, and he's behind bars.
It's kind of the joke that they almost put in Cabin in the Woods, where there was going to be like just a regular guy who was a killer called Kevin, and that the joke was that some people don't have masks, or like they're not vampires, they're not this, they're not that. He's just a guy named Kevin, and I kind of like the idea that Batman has a villain who's just Jim.
Yeah.
He's just Jim Gordon Jr. He's not some big
Kevin
wacky personality.
Was like Jason. So, but I like that.
Yeah.
That version too. You know what I mean? Like, I thought the name Kevin was just supposed to be like Jason. Like he's this big, masked killer. But the fact that he's a person.
Yeah, because I believe the deleted scene. I don't know if it was one they filmed or if it was one that was scrapped before they shot it, but. It was like they thought it was just a guy that was working there, was helping them, and then he turned around and stabbed someone, and it was like, he's Kevin from the board. Because his name's still on the board. See if you look at that famous pause screen in Cabin in the Woods. His name is on the board, and the only two things we don't see from that board in the movie is Kevin and the Snowman.
Right.
I'm upset about both.
Now I'm disappointed because that movie it's already pretty great, but it could have been even better.
Yeah. You know.
Oh man, what a letdown.
I mean, they kind of hit on that in Predators with Topher Grace's character. You know, who sticks out like a sore thumb.
Oh god, yeah, that's stupid twist.
Don't remind me.
and then they completely mishandle it. You know.
Actually, this is the weird thing, Matt. Arrow did a really good example of this season.
Oh.
This week.
You gotta tell me who the villain's supposed to be.
I thought he's from the comics. At least that I know.
It's called Stanley.
That's the guy named Stanley. And he's kind of Oliver's sidekick in prison.
Stanley the sidekick, yeah. He even calls himself the sidekick.
Yeah, he wants to be the new sidekick. We were jokingly calling him the Red Arrow for a while. Although I think we have to change it to the Red Scalpel.
He is utterly deranged. It's fantastic.
Which works because when he stabs someone, it does become red. I mean, there's some truth to this.
Yeah. When he stabs someone, you go, wait, you? Still? Every time.
That is not enough to make me want to watch Arrow, but, you know.
No, I don't, but it had a legitimately very good episode this week, which is rare, which is absurdly rare for that show.
It's legitimately one of the best episodes of that. It's probably the best episode that show's had in like 5 years.
Yeah, maybe the best episode that it's ever had, but it's definitely one of the best it's had in 5 years.
So there wasn't a lot of bloodlust?
No, not in the traditional sense. I mean, Stanley's got a bloodlust, but I'm okay with that bloodlust.
Yeah, but, you know, Connor's liver came out
that should be the
intact.
traditional sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, Batgirl was good. I'm liking Scott's run so far, and mainly the character stuff, the personal stuff between her and her dad. I like that a lot. And the art's very good as well. Yeah, and I like what the villain did. Like I say, I like the snap of the fingers and the instant death. Even if it does kind of resolve into just kind of let's fight the robot-y villains.
Yeah.
So that's a fair complaint. What are you giving it, Matt?
Well, 7.5. Pretty good, but nothing spectacular.
Connor.
Yeah, I'm with the 7.5.
I'm gonna give it a straight 8.
Fair enough.
Mr. Positivity for change. Alright. Moving on then to Justice League Odyssey issue 3. Joshua Williamson writing. And I'm not upset about Phil Briones in of himself, but
I'm not either.
Sejic, so
yeah.
It's not Sejic Starfire, and I didn't get nearly enough.
It's upsetting.
Sejic Starfire.
Have you seen the thing Sejic's been posting? He's been doing like just warm-up
Wonder
sketches.
Woman,
the Wonder Woman and Tomb Raider. It's so good.
Yeah,
my favorite one is where they're comparing scars.
It's become
that one. I like the one where he's find the T-Rex.
Yeah.
I like the one where they've swapped ropes, and she's like, Lady Croft, I don't think that's the right rope when she's holding the lasso. Yeah, it's become a running thing. It's just become like a running gag of all these Tomb Raider and Wonder Woman jokes.
Yeah.
Apparently he did this before, where he put all these like random pages like that out, and just not in any order. And then once they were all out, it's like you can collect them, and it's actually
Create
a short
your
story.
own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just but because of publishing rights, he couldn't actually just publish them.
Right.
Obviously, yeah. I feel like
speculation that it's that again.
I feel like Gail Simone has written both characters in comics. She's perfect.
Gail Simone's been retweeting them.
Yeah.
And she's been into it.
I saw.
And so they said, like, if they can't make this, if they can't pull this off because of licenses with Tomb Raider, then just make it Barbara Ann. And I was like, you're speaking my language.
Yeah, Dark Horse, just play nice with DC and just get it done.
I mean, it's not the first time we've had Batman versus Alien and Predator and stuff.
We have.
Dark Horse.
There's precedent.
This is the sort of thing that benefits both companies, so they're usually kind of okay with it.
There's benefits to happening this. There's precedent for this happening. Not with Dark Horse recently, but I mean we had Justice League Power Rangers with Boom. We had Batman Turtles with IDW. So I mean they're clearly up for playing ball with other publishers.
We had Green Lantern with Star Trek.
Yeah, that was also IDW. Yeah.
Yeah. We've had a few examples in the last couple of years.
Yeah, so it's a thing. So yeah, Justice League Odyssey issue 3. They have to skip the planet because the planet, obviously Starfire's going nuts, and they kind of drain her to knock her out. The Cyborg blasts her a fair bit with his Sonic Boom. That's what I'm calling it. Booyah, if you want. So Sonic Booyah. There you go. That's what I'm going to call it. And they have to race off. I love that Jess is like, okay, the ship's taking too long. I'm just going to put a construct around it and make it a bigger ship.
That was fantastic.
That was great. and they end up crashing on another planet in the Ghost Sector. And Starfire's kind of down for the count. She's kind of ill, and Cyborg stays with her. Do you know what I love? My running gag in this, because part of it was my own joke, because it cuts to this other planet in the Ghost Sector at one point, and we find out that Azrael's like fan, or whoever we're calling him, right?
He's a new Azrael, but instead of the Order of Saint Dumas, he's in the Order of Azrael.
Yeah, but
like Rapture.
Rapture, yeah.
Rapture.
I actually said out loud when I was reading this, of course his follower is the worst one, who's this like mad serial killer, right? And then I laugh because like 2 pages later, it's Jessica being like, "Oh, do I have to take Azrael? Really? Do I need to take him?"
I was like, "Come on, you're always out there." Fine, I guess.
Just don't be weird.
Yeah, so great.
That's good. Like so much.
But yeah, I like that character of Rapture. It just, in a meta sense.
Actually, that was
like,
probably my favorite art of the book, was when it cut to that other planet. The nighttime stuff in that other planet, I think, was my favorite art of the book.
Yeah.
That stuff's not bad.
And I like the...
Yeah.
No, because you get to the end of the book, and I like that the Ghost Sector interplays with itself. Like, it's... Yeah. You know how, Ray Palmer would go to the Microverse, and it's its own thing? Yeah. I'm feeling like the Ghost Sector's gonna end up being this thing.
Yeah.
Like that.
I'd be
what I mean?
Like, I would be cool if the Ghost Sector sticks around as a place in the DC universe. I like the idea.
But they're all interconnected, and you have Coluans, and you have, the different planets, you have the Tamaranian worshippers, and you have, it's really cool.
Because we find out that there's Coluan slaves on this planet, because Jess and that are trying to find parts for the ship, and they end up... It's like when they realise that they've got slaves, it's like, yeah, okay, we have to bust this up right now, and fight ensues. And of course, Starfire...
But then you find out that the guy that had enslaved the Coluans also has had some terrible interactions with Coluan. So it's like, what has been going on in the Ghost Sector that's enabled all of this?
Yeah, a lot of bad shit, but the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But Starfire and Cyborg eventually show up, and they kind of save the day. But worth mentioning, of course, there's a little twist, because there's this random character who shows up at the ship who claims he's a doctor, and he helps Starfire. But we see during the fight that it's actually Darkseid. Darkseid, like, it changes form into Darkseid. It was like a spell or something. Dark
hologram,
apocalypse hologram or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, good, yes, they're
working together exactly as I planned."
Yes, whatever he's skimming, that's what we're doing. And then the final reveal is the Rapture. Was it Rupture or Rapture?
Rapture.
We see him, and he's being informed. Oh, the cyborg one's here. You're looking for him. You're looking for the avatars. He's here, and he's like, "Oh, that's weird. I thought it'd be on his own planet." And then it turns out the Night City that we're in has a giant statue of Cyborg.
Yeah, because the Coluans, once they see Cyborg, they start worshiping him as the machine.
Yeah,
and he's just kind of like, "Oh, this is weird." Yeah.
All I'm saying is, any planet that has a giant cyborg, it's doing it wrong when you could have a giant Starfire.
Yeah. Amen, brother. Even Booster Gold agrees, because he should have gone surfing with the Tamaranian princess.
Obviously.
I mean, sure. Aye. Well, yes. Issue was good. Obviously, there's a natural disappointment because Cedric's not on the book anymore.
Yeah, it's still... So I still wonder what this book was supposed to be, because... Yeah. Remember when it was sold to us that it was,
Darkseid is Hannibal Lecter. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not getting that at all anymore.
Now he's this manipulator kind of off-screen.
Which is Darkseid. Like, he's just Darkseid.
Yeah, I wonder if that was it. I wonder if they just decided, you know what, this is just too un-Darkseid, whatever this plot is that we're doing.
It could be. But I'd like to read that version in script form and just see just how different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think this is a good issue. I do think it's missing something without that extra spark in the art, though.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Because I think the book, it's pretty standard what it's doing, and it was the art that made it unique and go, okay, no, this is why you have to read it, rather than what it was actually doing in the plot.
I'm still digging it, and I feel like with Williamson, knowing his work on Flash, and again, assuming that he's back after that one issue off that Abnett's doing.
We will find out next time.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
This is just him like setting the seeds for whatever his plan is.
I would hope so. Yeah.
So, if there's a Rapture that's a worshipper of Azrael, running around. Are there versions of him, not him, but like him for Starfire and Cyborg?
Maybe, yeah.
Cyborg, I'd say, is an easy, because so Rapture's modeled himself after Azrael. I think Cyborg's really easy to have someone go really far and they've cut off like their arm and replaced it with Cybernex to be more like Cyborg. I'm not sure what the person who's obsessed with Starfire does to go that extra length to be like her.
Grows her hair out and dyes it red.
Yeah, that'll make a difference.
But yeah, so I'm just wondering if there's that, because that would be cool.
There could be. I feel like this is maybe unique though, because the whole idea is that he wants to wipe out the other gods, right, and just have. I
can see a lot of them feeling that way in the idea that we're thinking, they're the old gods. It's kind of one religion, right? In terms of like an ancient Greek style, multiple gods.
They're not a pantheon.
You think there's a 3-way kind of war that's constantly going on?
Yes,
based on,
I think it's 3 separate religions. I mean, even in the pantheon, if you look at take Greece,
you had the cults, right?
Well, even aside from the cults, you had cities like Athens, which was Athena's city, and then you'd have people who weren't followers of Athena would go, no, we're not having that. We're enemies with them, even though they're all part of Greece and follow the same gods overall.
Right, but Athena likes us more, so we're gonna build over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What are you rating them at?
Oh, this is an 8. It could have been higher, and I hate to beat up Briones because he's not Sejic, but
it's such an unfair criticism to
it is,
because it's like you're doing a great job.
It's consistent. It's still good, just a little bit not as.
Yeah, it's just solid house style.
I feel bad because there are only a handful of artists that you can come after Sejic and go, this is absolutely equally as good.
Do you know what they needed to do is to go. Again, unique but different. See if they put Irving on this as the follow-up artist, this is so different but good in a different way that it would be like we can't even compare
stands
it.
Out.
Yeah. Whereas this is more like, no, this is solid, but it's solid kind of normal art. That makes sense.
No, I get it.
What are you giving it, Connor?
I'm giving it a 7. I still think it's good, but it's just missing that extra spark.
I'm going to split the difference and go 7.5. But I'm happy to have a fix for my girl Jess, and I'm still digging. I'm digging the world building of the Ghost Sector and finding out about all that stuff.
I do like the Ghost Sector as a concept, and I hope it sticks around.
We'll move on then to the Terrifics issue 10. Jeff Lemire writing, Viktor Bogdanovic on the art. This is the first issue he's done, I believe, on art. It's interesting to me that we had Jean Lung Yang on the annual, and we said, hey, he'd be good to do more Terrifics, and then we've got the artist from New Superman also working on the book. Can't help but think that ideas are brewing here.
Just a little confession. Obviously, I missed that week. I couldn't finish the annual. I couldn't finish that Jean Lung Yang. I couldn't get through it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well.
So I missed a little bit with whatever this was.
Damn it, Connor.
This issue was the most Marvel of the Terrifics, down to the way it ends. I'm just.
What you mean when he says "Terrifics no more" and he's walking away like Spider-Man walking away from the thingy?
Yeah.
And I imagine that he threw his mask in the trash, but he didn't.
Yeah.
But
I love the coloring on that page as well.
Yep.
The other page I really love the coloring on, especially, is the page where Terrific's stabbing the thing in the eye.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
So basically, this is they confront Java, and Java's like, well, screw you guys. Here's the celestial being that you encountered before. So they have to fight the celestial being. So everyone kind of teams up. Tom Strong and his family.
He calls it a celestial. Lemire is just doing this in spite. You know what I mean?
Celestial Titan.
Yeah, because he announced he's not doing work for hire anymore. Because he's written up to 14 issues of this, and then that's him. He's done. He's doing creator-owned stuff only, and the fact that he's getting movie and TV deals and almost everything he's ever written at this point means he's, probably the good choice. He's making money. Good for him. But so he's like, yeah, screw you, Marvel. This is just the last FU and my way out the door.
You can tell at least he feels like he's been treated better recently by DC, even if he's given up work.
Oh yeah, because I feel like Black Hammer, even though obviously there's some Marvel references you can make with the hammer especially. I feel like it's like when you compare it to a lot of DC characters, you compare it to Watchmen in a lot of ways. You're like, this feels more like a love letter to these things. You know, when he does his Legion, when he does his JSA, it feels like a love letter to these concepts. Not whereas this feels a bit more like, well, they didn't let me do Fantastic Four, so I'm just going to throw everything in here.
DC said I could have a year on Fantastic Four, so screw you.
Yeah. Like, but it's still uniquely DC. Like, just
sure,
like. Yeah. I mean, even adding Tom Strong in there, where Tom Strong's a love letter to Doc Samson. Like, you know.
Joe, I liked about this. I liked that by the end, and they realized, wait, we're back on Earth. We don't have to. We're not bound together anymore. You know what? We'll just split up. Yeah, that's the point. But I love that Linnea, the one who, you know, was away from our planet, who did want to go back a lot back at the start. It's like, no, wait, we're a team now, though. And we have to defeat Java. Like, he's our nemesis.
Yeah.
We have to do this.
That's her family now. Yeah. You know? Like,
I was like, that's just kind of sweet. And it's like, and I don't know how we're getting Rex back to being metamorpho, but it's happening. I don't know how.
Of course it's happening.
But it's happening.
Whatever's going, it'll just wear off and it'll just come back at some point.
I have expected Java to hit him back with the Eye of Horus thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Turned him and went, all right, there you go. See you later. If I can't have Sapphire, you can't be Rex. You know.
If I was to guess here, I'd say that the final, maybe not the final issue, but I'd say the final point of this book is it'll be them deciding to stick together as a team, and that'll be kind of where it leaves off. And it's up to DC if they want to continue the book and let someone else come in and actually write the adventures of the Terrifics.
But that's where Lemire's leaving it.
Yeah, sure. is them saying, hey, okay, you know what, we're deciding that we are a team, we are a family. Let's do this. Which should be fun. Obviously, there was some fun Plastic Man shenanigans as well, as there usually is. Him clearing debris and whatnot is a big truck thing.
Him turning into the supports to hold up the building while Mr. Terrific does what he needs to with Tom Strong. Like, that was... I loved it. Yeah, just because he's all over the place, literally.
He's complaining that it's really heavy, and then he pops his head in and says, "Oh, you two are cute," because they keep like finishing each other's scientific guesses. It's really nerdy, but like he's like, "Oh, you two are sweet." Oh.
Yeah, and then in more Marvel referencing, we get essentially a fastball special.
Yes, we do, but with a slingshot. It's a Plastic Man slingshot.
Yeah, but it's for all intents and purposes, it's the same.
Yeah, but it's better.
Yeah,
it is. I will say I really like Bogdanovic, and I think his art in this is still very good.
But
I don't think he's the right fit for this book. I think he's a little bit too scratchy and gritty, and just less clean than a lot of the other artists we've had on this book. And that's not a critique against his art in general, because I really like him on other stuff.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I feel like he still falls into this more cartoony style, though, that kind of fits for what this book is.
I get that. It's just not quite clean enough for me,
well,
at least.
By clean, because it is clean. His art's very clean. It's not the blocky style that's reminiscent.
It's scratchy, though, his art is the word I'd use to describe it.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but I don't. I mean, I'm always fine to see Bogdanovic.
No, the thing, I like Bogdanovic. I mean, we had him on Silencer not so long ago, and I thought it was great on that book. But there's nothing wrong individually with the art. I just don't think it's the right fit for this book.
Okay. Compared to Shaner and who else have we had on here? Like, it's one of these things. It's not like the other one.
I think he fits on this book more than Reese did.
I agree with that. Yeah. But I think Reese was a mistake on this book. Even though, again, I think he's a fine artist. I think it was a mistake on this title. We had Eaglesham as well, right?
Yeah, he was good.
Eaglesham.
Yeah.
He's on that Shazam, baby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I like this issue. I like what it's set up, and it sets up at the end, of course, that Dr. Dread, aka Java, is going to set up his own team. Now that Terrifics will despise it, no, I'm going to have my own team. An
army.
Yeah, his army. Is this where we get Dreadbots?
Yeah. Well, this is where we're gonna get across the multiverse too, and I feel like that's where it's gonna go. Is like the Terrifics, they might they'll end up being a team, but they're kind of the multiversal team, you know.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
I said it's just to do lots of random things in different weird Earths with,
right?
You know, whatever they can do anything they want at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you giving it, Matt?
It's a 7.5.
Connor?
It's just a straight 7.
I'll go with straight 8. I feel like the Terrifics has never let me down. I've never not had just a blast reading it. And this was mostly fun action, this issue, but I like the emotion stuff at the end with Linya. I thought it was a nice touch. Alright then, we'll move on to Titans issue 30, Dan Abnett writing, Minkyu Jung on the art. So the Titans were stranded on this planet. I love how in this one they're talking about how we need to get back to Earth, we've got vital information to save them from drowned Earth. And I'm like, that's already done, guys. It's finished. You're fine.
They figured it out without you.
Yeah. Aquaman...
Beast Boy is still rampaging.
He is. Miss Martian, of course, turned into her true white Martian self, and she's fighting Beast Boy. Although she's aware of who she is, though, and she calms him down eventually. That's how the fight ends. Because Donna and I think Steel are trying to hold them back at one point. It's not going very well.
It's not working. Yeah.
So this issue, what I liked about this issue is this is the issue where Donna says, "Hey, I kind of need to be a leader, and I'm going to be a leader," because they're all basically saying, "Ah, but we were barely a team before. Now Nightwing's gone. Like, what are we doing?" And Donna says, "You know what? Dick wanted me to be the link to the old Titans team, and I wasn't really ready. But you know what? Now I need to do that. So no more lies, no more secrets. This is what I'm going to be." And Miss Martian even says, "You are a leader. You are the. I mean, I may be the Justice League liaison, but you're here to lead me just as much as anyone else."
Right. It's no different than with Dick, right? But because Dick doesn't have that chip on his shoulder that this is my team. Or he did have that chip on his shoulder. Donna doesn't, so it's a little bit different, and I like that.
Yeah, I like that, and then of course Donna admits that she was at Roy's funeral, and then they all kind of freak out a little bit. That apparently happened a few days before Dick was shot.
Right. Terrible week for the Titans.
Yeah, not a great week for Titans.
Right.
They're having a bad time.
Matt, I guess Roy wasn't.
Matt, your mic's gone.
Oh, it's so bad every time.
Yes. What did you say about?
But it shows you that Roy wasn't that close with anyone else on the Titans. The fact that none of them, like Beast Boy, wasn't at the funeral.
Yeah, because he wasn't on their Titans. I mean, at least not traditionally.
No. So
it's certainly not in like any recent continuity that we've been dealing with. So I mean, it makes sense, but they're all kind of shocked. But and it ends because we knew it was coming, but it ends with they finally get the distress speaking up and running again after Beast Boy trashed it by accident, and Kyle shows up at the end saying, "Oh, cool distress speaking, guys. Do you need help?"
Yep. Which is what you kind of guessed how he was gonna come in,
which is cool.
Which is cool. I like the Donna Kyle. Dynamic. I don't know if they'll hit on it because I don't know if that's still continuity. I don't know if Abnett's going to do his own thing with it. Like, Donna is in a vulnerable place, so...
I feel like, obviously we always criticise comic covers for not being accurate to what's in the book, right? To be fair, the main one does kind of come up when Donna starts talking about the team and what the Titans means to her, so it's fine. But the variant cover is like Kyle with like a green construct car flying them out of the planet, and I'm like... I mean, I suppose it technically sets that up at the end, but this feels more like a next issue thing than this one specifically. But there you go. So, no, I dug the issue. Titans is a solid B tier book. That's basically kind of how I think of it. And I like Donna stepping up and deciding, you know what? No, we are a team, and I'm going to lead this team. And it feels like she should. If Dick's not here, then Donna should be the leader. That is. It just makes sense. She's the original Titans member, so.
Well, yeah, she's the legacy, that's her team, so.
Yeah, so I like that quite a bit. That's what's dealing with all this. We should mention that Raven has like a kind of like a weird psychic flash to her soul self, which is trapped in a dark place.
Right. So, I hope we get back to that, because.
Yeah, I feel like we will be soon.
The guy that she swapped with from the Dungeons and Dragons realm, like.
I can see there being an arc here where to get back to Earth with Kyle, and then if Kyle's going to stick around. I know Kyle was still on the cover for the February issue, I think. So, or at least it was in the solicitation for it. So we'll see, because it does go back to single shipping. I'm not sure what month it is, but I think it's definitely back to single in February, which makes sense. I wonder why it went to double. I wonder if it was just because it had to line up with everything that was going on for a couple of months, so they thought, oh, we'll speed it back up a little bit again.
Maybe, but it definitely feels to me like editorial kind of went on the skids with Dick, because this was setting up to be Dick's team, and then King has him shot in the head, and oh, well, we want this to reverberate across the line, and
I mean, who knows? Maybe it was just like, oh, Dan Abnett's like, hey, I need time to plan a whole new thing since Dick's not around. give me some time, space them out a bit. It could just be that. I mean, or it could just be it was always a temporary thing, for a few months, double shipping, but. Because I think the last month was the first one that was double shipping. It's not like it's been that long.
No. So I don't get it.
So hey ho, but we'll be back with. I think there's 2 next month. Well, actually, technically it's only 1 because the 4th week's
Christmas.
On the 1st of January or the first week of January. But no, I did it well enough. The art I think was pretty good. Minkyu Jung's solid.
Yeah, hi Jung.
Yeah.
That shot of Kyle at the end
was really nice.
Pretty cool.
And his glorious crab mask, might I add. All the stuff with Beast Boy and Miss Martian fighting was good. I like that.
Yeah, really good. I love Savage Beast Boy. Like, that's such a great concept.
Yeah. So no, very little to complain about. I dug it a lot. So Matt, what you think?
It's a 7.5. Pretty solid, but
yeah,
I
will concur with the 7.5. I think that's kind of where this book's sort of sitting, which is a nice place because I think it's higher than what it was back in the first few arcs of the book.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
This is a lot more comfortable. Which will take us on anyway to more Dan Abnett, although this time with Jack Herbert, for the Silencer issue 11. And Jack Herbert, I'm sure I've spoken about before, and I'm pretty sure I said the exact same thing last time his name came up. But I went into this going, oh, it's not Bogdanovic or whoever else was just on this book. I was like, oh, is the art going to dip? And then after a few pages, I went, no, this art's actually still really good. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess
who
Herbert's
was
good.
it we said that about last week or the week before?
Yeah, there was someone a couple of weeks ago who it was like, oh, we thought it was going to be a dip because we'd never heard of the guy.
It wasn't this guy, was it?
I don't think it was. That would be really bad if this was the guy that we said this same thing about a few weeks ago.
That would be really bad. I don't know. I'm trying to check his DC credits.
I can't remember what book it was though, so I can't even just check what issue we're talking about.
No, I can't either. Someone will know better than us.
Yeah, no, it was because it was like a fill-in artist for one issue or something.
Yeah, no, I don't see anything crazy recent on his list. He did Titans Hunt apparently. He did the Silencer annual, so could have been.
Do you know? Yeah. Maybe it was. Maybe it was. That's even worse. If it was a Silencer annual, it's even worse.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Someone who remembers us saying that, by all means, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, I'm assuming our listeners pay more attention than we do to each other.
I would.
Yeah, because I'm riveted right now.
Because I'm sure there's a reason they're listening. Because I don't pay attention to half the stuff that Matt and Pete say.
Shut your face, Matt. Okay, so Silencer is in the snow. She's got Quietus, and then the dude who turned into a beast, and they're going through this
thing.
Yeah, they're going through the snow to get to the place where Talia is, or where they think she's still to be going to Lazarus Pit. Obviously, when they get there, they find out.
Just like, oh, let's go to a fortress.
Yeah, and they end up having a bit of fight with some robots, and it's kind of fun, solid action. And then they eventually get there, and the whole thing is that they're ready to, hunt her down, and then it turns out that all of Leviathan's there, like every single member who still exists is there, and then Talia walks out, and like so many of them are there to either pledge allegiance or to kill her, and all these laser sights all hit her, and she's like, "You could kill me. I mean, there's nothing to stop you from killing me right now, but here's the thing: has Leviathan accomplished anything with me gone? Like." when all
you just descended into chaos fighting each other.
Yeah, all this infighting, all this, like, grabbing for the crown or the throne, like, have you accomplished anything? Has Leviathan been effective at all? And basically everyone says, you know what, she's kind of right, and they all start saying Hail Leviathan, with the exception of one. And I love that final page, because the final page is like, it's the crowd looking at Talia, and Talia says there's always one, and you can just, the art's just subtle enough to make Honor stand out, to make Silencer stand out in the crowd.
Do you know what it is? It's everyone else has got just a slightly faded tint to the color work.
Yeah.
But she's got just an extra outline around her, and the ink's like an extra layer, and then the colors pop just that touch more. Same with Talia at the front.
It almost feels like a spotlight. Almost.
It does, almost. It's a really subtle spotlight, but it's there.
I really liked what this did. It's a really simple issue, and what it's doing, it's just, no, Leviathan is sticking around, Talia's back, it's going to be stronger than ever, but Honor's not going to do this. So he's like, no, I'm out. Like, if I have to fight through all these assholes to get to you, I'm probably going to do it.
Yeah. No, moment of the issue, though, is definitely when Talia steps out, and she's like, no more fighting, war's over. And everyone just stops and looks at her.
So no, I really like what this is doing in terms of building up Talia as kind of the nemesis almost of Silencer. And I also like the cutaway to her husband, who thinks she's dead and is trying to find confirmation that she was in the hotel that blew up. Yeah. Or got crushed. And he's really frustrated and upset, and Silencer's
like, how am I going to tell the kid?
Yeah, Silencer's monologuing to herself that she feels bad, that they probably think she's dead right now, but she has to deal with this first, so that Talia's not a threat anymore. So, no, Silencer's been really solid. I actually think it's getting better as it goes. I think, at least in terms of plot, I think it's the best it's been. Like, in terms of,
I agree. Yeah.
It spent so much time building up, like, Talia, not letting her leave Leviathan, her wanting out, her coming here to kill Talia, but now Talia's stronger than ever. Like, she's reunited the entire team, the group.
This might be my favorite of the New Age books, over Terrifics even.
I mean, I can't argue it that much on it. I don't know if I'd say that, but I can't argue it that much.
It's just been really solid, and I'm really feeling the plot. It feels like Terrifics has been good, don't get me wrong, but at times it's kind of felt like, okay, we'd do a little bit too much of like, hey, Marvel, look at this, right? Whereas this is just, no, this isn't doing a lot of these books where this is the DC version of Marvel concept. Whereas this one doesn't really feel like it's doing that. It feels original enough that it's just doing its own thing that happened to be bundled in the same line as everything else.
Yeah, no, I'm digging it a lot. And it feels like its own little corner of the universe as well, which is why I think it partly works.
Yeah, and obviously it feels much more ingrained compared to, like Brimstone and Damage. This is Talia and Leviathan. Like, we know these things.
Yeah. And she has one of the best original concepts. The whole quiet bubble thing is actually really cool.
So good.
So, really, really simple issue, but really effective in what it's doing. Really good storytelling in the comics. Like we said, the coloring, making Silencer stand out in that last page is really effective. And but it sets up that despite all this noise, despite all this extra clutter in characters, it's about these two. It's about Silencer and Talia.
Yeah.
And that's really effective. So, Silencer's very good. So, what are you giving it?
Just about scrapes an 8.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8. I'm happy to give it that. So, there you go. And Matt's even more tempted to go back and catch up.
I mean, I was tempted at the Superman park.
I feel like the fact that we keep consistently saying that it's getting better as it goes is always a good sign.
Well, yeah, there's that too, and the fact that it's staying around. Like, all the other books are slowly going the way of the buffalo, and
you just have to get past that JRJR art for the first few issues.
Yeah, it's only like 3 issues, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 3 issues.
It's only 3 issues. I can do that, so I might, might talk to my shop because they like to give out homework. So I think the first trade's out. So I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the first trade's out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it was in the sale on the Comixology Black Friday sale.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the last book of the week, which does mean that we are onto the best stuff of the week part of the show, which is the worst way I could have possibly have said that. So we're going to do favourite panel / moment. We're going to do favourite cover, favourite art, and our top 5 books of the week. So that is what we're going to do. So we'll start off with panel / moment. Matt, what do you have?
Mine's definitely from Heroes in Crisis, and it's Booster talking with himself and arguing. That, for whatever reason, that made such an impact on me.
Yeah, can't fault that. Connor?
Mine's actually from Wonder Woman. It's that moment with the silhouette of the axe on the ground, just that the weight of the extra moment and the pacing kind of solidified the issue.
Yeah, that book did have very good pacing. It did. I'm torn between a few things, actually. I do like some of the Wally stuff in Heroes in Crisis. I really dig some of the fighting stuff with Superman and Red Cloud in action. I think that's a really great few pages of just panels of art telling a story. I really like that last page of Silencer as well.
Yeah, that's good.
So good. Yeah, I'm going to give it. I feel like Silencer might have had the best last page of the week.
I can't argue with that.
It might have done, so I'm going to say that. I'm going to say the final page of Silencer. All right, best cover, Matt.
It's the Titans variant with Kyle in the car. It's just a really cool image. I was tempted to go with the action variant with Superman like Santa. But I like the Titans one a little bit more.
That's fair.
Oh, it's kind of cool. I've just seen it.
Connor?
I just want to give a shout out to the Flash variant, the manga style one. I really like that.
Ooh, I don't like it.
Oh, I do. I think it's unique, but I'm gonna go with the Wonder Woman variant. I know it's an easy option, but what can I say?
Yeah.
So I'm going to be boring here and pick a really obvious choice, but the Middleton Batgirl variant, like,
it's good.
I'd like the Murphy normal cover too.
Yeah, the Murphy one's good as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not my favorite of these covers for Batgirl. The one in the clock tower at the laptop is like still my phone background. It is.
Yeah,
gorgeous,
I think this is maybe my least favorite Middleton cover in the last few months. But I mean, pretty high bar. This is it's still pretty damn good.
I mean, do you know the thing? It's got like it's like a painting of Batgirl, right? Because obviously the issue deals with an art gallery. I love that the frame of the painting looks basically photoreal.
Yeah,
it does. It looks real, and then and obviously it's a piece of art, so the art of Batgirl also kind of looks photoreal in a way, if that makes sense.
It's maybe a
painting.
It does look like the rest of his covers, just with an extra little, not quite a filter, but it's more pixely almost to see the art, the paint dots.
Yeah, it's like a canvas kind of texture to it.
Yeah.
So but Batgirl takes my cover. So best art of the week, Matt. What are you thinking?
So this is, in a week where we're at Heroes in Crisis, it's going to be weird for me to go with action, but I really like the Sook art. You talked about the action sequences versus Red Cloud. I thought that the stuff with the gangsters and the
question.
Well, there was that, but also in the silo tank. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. I thought that was all really well done because it was shadowy, but you still could see everything that was going on. Like, it just felt proper. But yeah, that art really a fan of.
Yeah, no, I can get on board with that. It's really good. I'm still going to pick Heroes in Crisis, I think, overall, but pardon me, Sook was probably number 2. Connor?
For me, actually, it boils down to 2 books. It boils down to Detective Comics and Wonder Woman. For me, those are the standouts. Heroes in Crisis is still very good, and that's probably 3rd.
One of them was good. We never actually spoke about it much, but Silence's art was really good. Obviously we had the whole thing at the start, but
yeah,
everything with her in the snow,
gorgeous.
And the first half was beautiful.
I can't fault it. It just doesn't quite get to the level of some of the other books, but it's still very good. I think I'm going to go with Wonder Woman, just because it has that extra level of expressiveness but a real great sense of motion as well.
Yeah, that's fair. The worst art of the week is probably Drowned Earth, just because it's so haphazard between.
Yeah.
Messy. Individually, none of the artists are bad, but as a book, it's a bad book of art.
Yeah. So cool. What's these like your top 5 books of the week? Matt, hit us.
So number 1, Action Comics. Number 2, Heroes in Crisis. Number 3, The Flash. Number 4, I'm trying to remember what I scored everything. Number 4, Odyssey. Number 5, let's see, the Batgirl or Wonder Woman. Let's go Batgirl.
Connor.
Number 1's Wonder Woman. Number 2 is The Silencer. 3 is Batgirl. 4, Justice League Odyssey. And 5, Flash.
Okay. I'm going to last is a really hard week. I'm looking at this list of 11 freaking books that I read, and I'm like, I think Action Comics is number 1. I think I'm going to say Wonder Woman number 2. And then I'm going to say Heroes in Crisis at number 3. And Batgirl number 4. And then Silencer number 5. I'm leaving some good stuff off there, though. Jeez. It was a good week. You know what? I actually had a really solid week of books. You know, out of 11 books, Detective was the weak link. For sure. So, you know.
Yep.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Alright, so tell you what's coming next week then, is what I usually do at this point. And hot off the presses, I saw this on Twitter, because originally I think Doomsday Clock did get pushed to week 2 of December.
Yeah.
But it's actually coming out next week. So Doomsday Clock issue 8 is out next week. So that'll be the main event of the show. And then we also have Shazam issue 1, as the guys pointed out earlier on. Also really exciting. We have Justice League 13, we have the Green Lantern issue 2, we have Green Arrow 47, we have Martian Manhunter issue 1, we have Adventures of Super Sons issue 5, and then also, which we will not be covering, Deathstroke 38 has been dropped by everyone now. Curse of Brimstone's out, Harley Quinn 55, Nightwing 54, Red Hood Outlaw 29, Suicide Squad Black Files 2, and The Unexpected issue 7, which I believe is the penultimate issue of The Unexpected.
I'm shocked it's at issue 7 already.
Yeah.
Unexpected, you might say.
Yeah, it is.
Oh dear.
I'm really looking forward to Shazam. Obviously, I'm really looking forward to Doomsday Clock. Martian Manhunter, I don't know.
It's a wild card.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a potential I could hate it.
It's a wild card.
But I don't know.
We're giving Orlando an all chance, though. We want to like this one, so by all means, do it.
I like the concept of it. I like that he's paying the reason he comes in as a hero, since he's a corrupt cop back on Mars. So anything that expands Martian Manhunter's, mythos, like what he was before he came here, I'm a fan of.
Yeah. And given that there's 8 books instead of 11, we don't have to feel bad when we spend an hour on Doomsday Clock, so that's nice. Because they could have put Doomsday Clock on a week 2 or a week 4.
You mean like normal?
Like normal.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is actually kind of nice.
That variant 2 is the one I've been waiting for.
Which one is it?
It's Doomsday Clock. It's got the marionettes of Superman in Manhattan.
Yes.
Ever since that image came out in black and white, I've been waiting.
Yeah.
So
I will say DC is still being a bit dicks about week 2, because that the Batman Who Laughs, I think, is week 2. I'm like, really? Did you have to?
Yeah, week 3 would have been a nice week for that, DC. Yeah. Week 3 has like 5 books right now that we all do.
I mean, that's where it was solicited anyway. Maybe they changed their minds. It happens.
So, Well, one of the neat things though is normally we have to record an extra episode for end of year awards. Well, we're still going to do that, but normally we have to squeeze that into the schedule on top of the regular stuff. Because they're taking a week off at the end of the month, that'll just be our regular episode that week.
Yeah, that is actually pretty unusual for DC to do that.
Yeah, but it's convenient for us, so I'll take it.
I haven't obviously next week's Green Arrow. Is that the last issue of the Bensons, or they got one more after that?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's the last one.
Okay, so that'll be a little bit of a discussion as well, I'm sure.
Yeah. Last issue of the Benjamin's, second issue of Morrison's Green Lantern. So there's things to talk about. Nothing compares to Doomsday Clock and Shazam, though. Those are the big hitters.
Justice League. Justice League continuing on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
we get a
new art.
A villains issue.
Sure.
So. Villains issue first. Yeah. Has a really good variant cover.
As it does.
But yeah, that is the show though. So I am left to request or suggest that everyone enjoying the show head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv if you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do. Get some bonus stuff for your time and effort, and most importantly, some money. Bonus episodes, yes. Me and Car just did Superman Earth 2, and oh boy!
Yes, the volume 2, that is.
Volume 2, yes. Did I say Earth 2?
You said Earth 2, yeah.
Earth 1. Earth 1, Volume 2. I think I did that in the show as well. I abbreviated it to
save time. Is it easier to read than Volume 1?
No.
Told you you didn't make it through Volume 1, Pete.
Yeah, Matt, there are pages in this. I was actually, there was like a Matt meter throughout the episode where we were talking about it, where this would make Matt rage quit, then this page would make him rage quit, and then this page would make him rage quit.
Oh boy.
It is head and shoulders worse than book 1.
Book 1 is not good, but it's readable. I mean, I found it readable. Matt clearly didn't. Book 2 is atrocious.
I don't think book 1's badly written. It's just horribly written because it's Superman. Like, if it was different characters, the flow of the story was fine. If that makes sense.
Now I know why Jared sent them to me free of charge, because he just wanted that curse out of his house.
We said that. We said it wasn't really a gift. It was a punishment. He just didn't want them anymore.
So you get bonus episodes at the $5 tier. There will be a return of Peter's Pillbox at the $1 tier soon, which is just me sort of going issue by issue on some old runs and sort of, recapping them, giving some thoughts on them as an audio only show. That's coming back soon. But yeah, have a look at Patreon and see how you feel. But yeah, of course you can support us in other ways by liking, subscribing. These things are very important on YouTube because they drive the analytics and the algorithms.
Recommend us when people want new podcasts.
There you go. That's something you can do too. And rate us well in whatever podcast service you use, but whatever.
That does help. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, do all that. And otherwise, that is us. So yeah, like, subscribe, usual things, and get us on Twitter, of course, at DC Comics Podcast. You get updates on there and so on and so forth. So yeah, but that's the show. That's been episode 132, I believe, of the show.
Sure,
that sounds right.
This is the part where I usually go and double check and go, yep.
Double check the number.
Yep. 132.
Again.
Every week, you kind of make a guess that you think's right, and it always seems to be, but you'll get it wrong eventually.
Never. All right, that is this show. That has been Conscious in the Multiverse. Thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, guys, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.
Hey, and long live the Legion.